will back up Levis. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Rams signing quarterback Carson Wentz amid injury concerns with Matthew Stafford. The Jets, amid one of the worst offensive seasons in franchise history, do not plan on changing play callers. Head coach Robert Saleh said he's sticking with offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. While plenty of fingers are pointing at quarterback Zach Wilson to blame, it's on the coaches to figure things out, believes ESPN's Dominique Foxworth.
Of course, there are holes on that offense, but there are holes on every single team in the NFL. And they have talented players. They need to find a way to put an offense out there that is at least respectable, that can get enough first downs to let their defense rest. They need to figure out something other than letting him sit in the pocket and make decisions like he is going to read the defense. They need to figure out something on offense.
Dominique Foxworth on Greeny. Injured Florida State receiver Johnny Wilson returned to practice today. He could play against Miami Saturday. He's missed the last 2 games.
Brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel. Plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Got some updated NFC South odds, bowl projections. Is Jaden Daniels' Heisman candidacy actually still very much alive? Shea Dixon, 1 hour from right now. Sean Salisbury, hour 3. Ton to do, and glad you're with us. Let's start as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, today was a good opportunity to pull back and do the 10,000-foot view on LSU. You're coming off the Alabama loss, which we dissected a lot on Monday. Your primary goals for this season are off the table. You can't win the West. You can't go to Atlanta. You're not going to make the playoff. You can't win a national championship. All those things are now officially no longer there. And I know there's a lot of people upset about it, the defense playing the way they are, and a lot of the explanations that came Monday. And I'm not saying you're wrong for any of those things, but sometimes, as I'm fond of saying, perspective matters. And when you pull back and take the 10,000-foot view, sometimes you get a different perspective. As they say, you can't see the forest through the trees. Brian Kelly talked a lot on Monday about going from good to great to elite, which is what this program really is seeking to do. And he talked about this on Monday, some of the attention to detail that needs to come into factor.
It's not about talent, it's about talent and traits. And building traits where there's an attention to detail has to happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just don't show up on Saturday and go, you know what? I'm going to have attention to detail today. So that's the process that we're in within this program, that when you have a tutor's appointment at 9:30, you don't show up at 10:30. You show up at 9:25. Or when there's a meeting that is at 2 o'clock, you don't show up at 1:59. It takes consistency and building those habits. We're working on that. We are not a finished product.
We're working on that. We're not a finished product. You heard him say it over and over and over again on Monday. He was asked, has this been harder than he thought it would be building LSU?
This was going to be hard work, and I felt like it was, but it's been matched with the want to and the desire to do it. Being elite is hard. And if it's just the level of good, we're pretty close to being that. We've lost 3 times to top 10 teams on the road. If you want to be elite, you got to beat those teams on the road. We beat a top 20 team in Missouri on the road. That's good. You lost to the teams you're supposed to lose to. You beat the teams you're supposed to win. We're not here for that. So to get to elite is really hard, and these guys are working towards that. It just takes some time.
You heard that as a familiar refrain. It just takes some time. It just takes some time. So how much time? That's kind of what I wanted to delve into a little bit. And I went back and looked at Brian Kelly's history. For example, when Brian Kelly took over at Central Michigan, he took over a team that was 4-7. I'm not trying to bore you with this history lesson, but I think this will provide some context and some evidence for where LSU was, is, and where they might be going. So he goes to Central Michigan. He takes over a team that's 4-7. He goes 6-5, and then 9-4 after that. Forgive me. He went 4-7 year 1, 6-5 year 2, then 9-4 year 3. So he went 4, 6, 9. He built year to year to year. Year 3 was his big year, and then he gets the Cincinnati job. Year 1 in Cincinnati, they win 10 games. They go 10-3. Year 2, they go 11-3. In year 3, they go 12-0. He inherited a team that was 4-7. So they went from 4-7 to 10-3, 11-3, 12-0. Year 3, they had the undefeated season. He gets the Notre Dame job. He inherits a team from Charlie Weiss that went 6-6 in 2009. So again, Notre Dame, 6-6 in 2009. They fire Charlie Weiss. They bring in Brian Kelly. Year 1, he goes 8-5. So inherits 6-6, he goes 8-5. Year 2, 8-5. Year 3, they go 12-0 and play Alabama for the national championship. What was pretty consistent, and I didn't count Grand Valley State, but Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, each of those situations, it was year 3 when they went kaboom. 4-6-9 at Central Michigan. At Cincinnati, 10-11 to 12-0. Notre Dame, 8-8 undefeated, playing for the national championship. As Brian Kelly said, it takes time. And even before the season, he said, we're a year away. Now, I scoffed at that because I thought this team was going to be good enough to compete for a championship. And on one side of the ball, they are. I completely misjudged how bad this team was going to be defensively. And quite honestly, I think Brian Kelly would tell you that he didn't think they would be nearly as bad as they have been this year. But I think it's also important not just to look at where they are, but what they inherited to get where they are. And you know all of this, but sometimes when you paint this picture all as one in a sample size, it makes more sense. In 2020, you were 5-5. COVID year, you were 5-5. You allowed 34.9 points per game, nearly 35 points a game, which was the worst number in the history of LSU football. A year later, you go 6-7. You score 26 a game. You allow 26 a game. You fire Ed Ogeron. So in those 2 years before Brian Kelly showed up, you were 11-12. The 2020 signing class, the 2020 signing class, that group, right, which would right now be in their senior year at LSU. There are 3 players from that class that are still at LSU. Jacobian Guillory, Trey Bradford, who left twice and came back, and Marlon Martinez. That's it. The signing class that would have made up your senior class, 3 guys remain. When you look at Brian Kelly's first class, by the way, just as a quick thought on that 2020 class, here's the names. Just so you know what that experience was like of that class, which should be the veteran senior class of Brian Kelly's team. Eric Gilbert, Eli Ricks, Kayshon Boutte, Jaquelin Roy, B.J. Ojolari, Jacobian Guillory, Jordan Tolles, Philip Webb, Trey Bradford, Antoine Sampa, Marcus Dumerville, Josh White, Eric Taylor, Alex Adams, Ali Gay, Marlon Martinez, Cole Taylor, Xavier Hill, Dwight McGlothern, Coy Moore, Max Johnson, TJ Finley. You basically went a full year without a recruiting class. A lot of good players. None of them stayed here. So Brian Kelly comes in 2022. He signs 15 high school players and 15 transfers. Remember this. I'm going to say this out loud again. 15 high school players, 15 transfers. The same amount of transfers as high school players. His second class, 26 high school players, 14 transfers. So he increases the number of high school signees and about the same number of transfers. Right now, year 3, They have 26 commits and counting. They're probably going to push that number to 29 or 30, and you're likely going to sign single-digit number of transfers. So what you're seeing are those numbers invert. You're going to sign probably 3 times as many high school players as transfers, which is ultimately where you want to get. But for Brian Kelly to be able to compete his first 2 years at LSU, you had to go get guys that had played major college football. Otherwise, you're running out a roster of all freshmen. So they took advantage of the portal. They hit a year ago. They missed on a lot of guys this year. It happens. But all the while, they went from 15 freshmen as first class to 26 last year to they're going to sign about 30 this year. Last year, you went 9-3, 6-2 in the league with a bowl win. Of course, you lost the SEC championship game, but regular season. 9-3, 6-2, and a bowl win. If you win out here in the month of November, you're going to go 9-3 and 6-2 in the conference with a chance for a bowl win to get to 10 wins. Nobody involved in LSU football hangs banners because of 10-win seasons. Nobody celebrates 10-win seasons around here. It's not the goal. But when you realize that 2 years before Brian Kelly showed up, you combine those seasons to win 11 games, and you have a chance now to go back-to-back double-digit win seasons, yes, you are undeniably showing progress. Listen, I am never going to sit here, ever, and tell you to lower your expectation around LSU football. Ever. I'm never going to tell you expecting to win the national championship every year is too lofty a goal. That should be your expectation. When it doesn't happen, you should be looking as to why. Now, it's not realistic. You're not going to win it every year, but that should be your goal every year. And when you don't get there, you need to take a very introspective look as to why and what you can fix to get there. I'm never going to tell you lower your expectation. I'm never going to try to tell you that being 97th in the country in total defense, 85th in scoring defense, 102nd in run defense, and 80th in pass defense is okay. I'm never going to sit here and tell you that that's in any way acceptable because it's not. What I will sit here today and tell you, though, is that the 10,000-foot view, the LSU football program today is unequivocally in a better spot than it was December 2nd of 2021 when Brian Kelly stood at a podium and was introduced as the LSU head football coach. That is not even debatable. And as his history has shown, year 3 at Central Michigan, year 3 at Cincinnati, year 3 at Notre Dame is when he hit the parabolic rise. What will year 3 at LSU look like? How you finish the month of November, your bowl preparation, your signing class, how all of this finishes points to the culture that Brian Kelly keeps talking about that he's trying to instill. So you want to be really optimistic about next year and moving forward? When you're faced with the disappointment of having your goals taken away from you, but you're looking at 3 more games at home, all 3 of which where you will be a big favorite, go take care of business, beat teams that are not as good as you, finish strong, and start pointing toward next year where maybe you have the same result he's had in his 3 previous stops in year 3. All right, it's After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana. Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. We appreciate our friends so much at Mockler Beverage. Last year they did 85. They sponsored 85 golf tournaments in our community. Think about that. That's more than one a week. Basically, if there's a church, a school, a charitable organization that you care about, chances are that our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light have positively impacted those organizations over their 40 years in business. It's Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of AFR. Okay, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. It is Florida week. We got a ton to talk about. Billy Napier met with reporters as he started to preview the trip to Baton Rouge this weekend. Tigers, of course, beat the Gators in Gainesville last year. See if LSU can make it 2 in a row against the Gators under Brian Kelly. Well, now I got a break. Come back. Dennis Allen did, in fact, meet with reporters on Monday. We'll let you hear a little bit about what DA had to say as they turn the page to Minnesota. And also some updated NFC South odds. You may find this interesting. We'll get to it next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet Dine and Carry Out or Delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. Of course, it's Pluckers, where every Tuesday, Two things to remind you about. Number one, kids eat free. So adults, buy your entree, your kiddos eat for free at Pluckers. That's every Tuesday. So it's a great opportunity to get out, have a night out as a family, and do so affordably and eat great and have a lot of fun. It's every Tuesday at Pluckers. Also, our guy Hunt Palmer hosts sports trivia every Tuesday at the Nicholson location. They fire it up at 8:30. So you got some action tonight. Great opportunity to get out, have a good time, watch some college football, eat some wings, drink some beers, test your sports knowledge, and win Pluckers gift cards. That's every Tuesday night, 8:30 at the Nicholson location. It's sports trivia hosted by Hunt Palmerio, Hunt Palmer. It's Pluckers, award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Ice cold draft beer, full-service bar and sports on TV, of course, at Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Congratulations to Mark Cumby. Mark is our Week 10 winner. 2023 Twin Peaks.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. By the way, if you've not done so yet, go check out the Sunshine social media, in particular their Instagram. They have their NIL video up, the one that I told you last week that I believe will go viral. It is with Emory Jones. Calico. I'm not going to show it yet. or give you any type of spoiler. I'm just going to let you go watch it. I'll talk about it later in the show. Trust me, just go to the Sunshine Instagram and enjoy. All right, Saints coming off a win. Putting together a nice little winning streak right now. Got an opportunity to go into their opening today. Who was this over at I think this was Fowler. It was Jeremy Fowler, who over at ESPN.com spoke anonymously to some NFL executives to kind of get their feeling on every division and who might win it at this point. And in the NFC South, I don't think this will surprise anyone. It was sort of an anyone's guess. I'll just read. It's really quick. I'll read it for you because there's two things of note. The only thing that's certain is that the Panthers aren't, contending this year. He writes, but the Tampa, in my opinion, end quote. By the way, they play 17 games now, not 16. AFC personnel, man. But I do understand that old habits die hard. Basically saying that the Saints would be a 12-win team as they exist now if Derek Carr were more consistent. Yet another person independently within the NFL, not high on Derek Carr, just worth noting there, but saying that the Saints are really the safest bet of the group, and that actually does play out. If you look at the updated betting odds, this is from our friends over at DraftKings, they have the betting odds for all of the division winners, and the New Orleans Saints, as of right now, are at minus 165 to win the NFC South. So Saints at minus 165, Falcons at plus 190. The Bucs are third at plus 600, and then the Panthers are plus 15,000. I mean, I think we all understand the Panthers are bringing up the rear of the entire NFL. But the Saints at minus 165, pretty decided favorite there over Atlanta to win the NFC South at this point over at DraftKings. And when you look at the remaining strength of schedule, Tankathon always publishes and keeps up with the remaining strength of schedule, and this is based on your opponent's win-loss record. So if you look right now at the remaining strength of schedule, the easiest remaining strength of schedule, Atlanta Falcons, their opponent's combined winning percentage is .362. The second to easiest remaining strength of schedule, the New Orleans Saints. Opponents combined winning percentage at .406. The most difficult opponents left are the Lions and the Vikings. And Minnesota, you're going to face Minnesota with Joshua Dobbs at quarterback, not Kirk Cousins. So the two games you have remaining against projected playoff teams, or your toughest opponents, I guess we should even say, one of them, you're going to be facing a guy that's been there for a week. And you're not going to face their starting quarterback. For what it's worth, Atlanta easiest, New Orleans, then Tampa, the third easiest remaining schedule. But interestingly, after that, so all the NFC South teams, the fourth easiest remaining schedule. How about the Detroit Lions? You want to buy stock on a team right now? How about Detroit? I mean, a team that looks like they're going to run away with that division and has the fourth easiest remaining schedule of any team in the NFL here at the halfway point. Detroit is a team that you may want to jump on board if you haven't already. So the New Orleans Saints are in a really good spot right now. Looking ahead, when you look at their schedule, offense starting to come together a little bit as they decided. And defensively, maybe the most encouraging thing is for a team that was among the worst in the NFL a year ago at taking the ball away, this year is been one of the best at creating turnovers and takeaways. It's something that the New Orleans Saints were very intentional on this offseason, was creating takeaway opportunities. Of course, they were +5 against the Chicago Bears. But even Dennis Allen, was asked about this on Monday when he met with reporters at his press conference. What has led to that spike in takeaways?
I think we've probably done a better job of putting an emphasis on it. We started off the defensive meetings last week showing, how takeaways are created, in our league. And so I think you saw some of that during the game, guys searching out opportunities to take the ball away. And then, look, I think part of it is guys have made the plays that they have an opportunity to make.
For whatever it's worth, the Saints right now are +8 on the season. Look, a +5 day against Chicago will certainly help. But the Saints are +8 on the season. They have 12 interceptions. That leads the NFL. So your secondary has been very opportunistic. Paulson Adebo was awesome the other day. The Marcus May interception was great. You've also gotten 6 fumble recoveries. And then your giveaways are what have neutralized it a bit because you've thrown 5 interceptions and you've lost 5 fumbles. So you're +8 overall. You've gotten 18 takeaways, but you've given it away 10 times. So your +8 turnover margin is second best in the NFL, behind only Cincinnati and the Chargers. But when you look at your total takeaways, you lead the NFL. The Saints and the Jacksonville Jaguars each have 18 takeaways, which leads the NFL. What was such a giant talking point a year ago, the inability to create turnovers and advantageous situations for your offense, that's flipped on its head. Another reason why when you do lead the NFL in takeaways, but you're sitting here one game over 500 at 5-4, it's a little hard to explain, hard to stomach, because when you're that good, you should be much better. So the Saints at +8 with 18 takeaways. I mean, keep in mind, Jacksonville, you're right there with Jacksonville, +18. And Jacksonville's running away with their division right now at 6-2. If the Saints, I get it, hindsight's 20/20, you can't cry for spilled milk, but you blew opportunities to win games on the road against Green Bay and Houston. And how drastically different does the whole outlook of your season feel if you had found a way to get those 2 games and you're at 7-2 right now instead of 5-4? Maybe you do resemble more of a contender instead of a team that's going to finish in the middle of a jumbled mess of the NFL and the NFC. So if it were to go down today, by the way, which is, I always find it's interesting when you look at what a projected playoff scenario might look like in the NFC. If it were to happen today, the Saints would be the 4 seed, obviously as a division winner. So the Eagles, Lions, Niners, Saints would be your top 4. Seattle, Dallas, Minnesota would be the other playoff teams today. So Philly would have the bye. The Lions would play the Vikings. The Niners would play Dallas. And the Saints would host a wild card round game against the Seattle Seahawks. And I don't hate your chances against Seattle in the Dome. I mean, the worst case scenario would be running up against a team like Dallas, who at their best is one of the best teams in the NFL. They've been inconsistent, but we've seen them at times this year roll. But they're not going to win their division because Philly's the best team in the NFL right now. Minnesota, I would have told you, would have been a greater concern as a team that didn't win its division because the Lions run away with it. Minnesota with a healthy Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson and all that stuff coming to the Dome, that would have been a decidedly more difficult task, I think, than beating Seattle in the Superdome if it comes down to that. Look, we had half a season to play, but sometimes it's fun to look at how all this stuff may play out. So the Saints right now in the catbird seat at 5-4 in the NFC South, sole possession of first place in the division, heading into a game at Minnesota where you're going to face a backup quarterback before you go into your bye week, and then you're at Atlanta. By the time you come out of the bye, if you go beat Atlanta, the Saints, man, I mean, the Saints could put this thing away mid-December, which is amazing to think. But then again, it's the challenge of finding consistency when you have been a notoriously inconsistent team. See if they can go up to Minnesota and get a win this weekend against Joshua Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all. Remember, at Relief Windows, they also do shutters. So if you're going to get custom windows at Relief Windows, you might as well get your custom shutters done there as well. At Relief Windows, they measure twice, install once. The entire process, you will be thrilled with it from start to finish. Whether it's hardy plank and vinyl siding, whether it's beautiful entry doors, even wood windows. I mean, wood windows with a lifetime warranty sounds like a punchline, but they offer it at Relief Windows. So if you're looking for windows, doors, or siding, call our friends at Relief Windows today. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll go around the SEC. The SEC basketball slate tipped off last night. Tiger, the men's team, got a win. The ladies, of course, lost out in Las Vegas. I'll let you hear from Matt McMahon and from Kim Mulkey here in just a quick second as we go around the SEC. Shea Dixon's going to join us in 30 minutes. And one of the things I want to talk about with Shea Dixon is the impact of all the Michigan stuff on Bryce Underwood, the number one player in the country for 2025, who's essentially down to LSU and Michigan. So does all of that actually have an impact on Bryce Underwood's decision. We'll talk about that with Shea about 30 minutes from right now. All right, y'all. Glad you're here. Stick around. We'll go around the SEC next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know where to find them. I mean, just look up, you see any billboard anywhere, but you know where to find them. GetGordon.com. That's GetGordon.com. 288, excuse me, it's 888-8888. Call all the 8s, 888-8888, or go to GetGordon.com. GetGordon.com for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And I always encourage you as well. Look, of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. But, of course, I always encourage you as well to keep an eye out for all of the great community involvement that Gordon does. Gordon Gives is the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you go to GordonGives.com, that's GordonGives.com, you can see all of the great charitable endeavors they're a part of. The Capital City Beer Fest is coming up as well. You can see that right there. You can learn how you can win an autographed football for members of the G team over at GetGordon.com, or go to GordonGives.com. Again, GordonGives.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
The Big Ten informed Michigan that it may face disciplinary action. I told you this from the beginning. I don't really care to delve too deep into this topic. I understand nationally people are covering it, and there's a tremendous amount of interest because Michigan is undefeated, and look, they're playing Penn State this weekend, and Jim Harbaugh is a bit of a lightning rod, and maybe they might be in the playoff, and could this cost them their playoff opportunity, and could Harbaugh get fired? Like, I understand why all that's a big deal. I genuinely don't care about Michigan. I don't care that Connor Stallions was videoing the sidelines. There's not a lot of interest there for me. For many of you, there might be. And maybe I'm misreading the room, but I don't think that locally this matters very much, except for one potential angle. And someone texted me about it last week, and they're right. Or I should say many of you have pointed this out, and it's one of the reasons we're going to have Shea Dixon in 25 minutes. Bryce Underwood's the number one player in the country for 2025. He's a quarterback from the state of Michigan, and he's essentially down to two schools. It's LSU and Michigan. So might this whole thing, if it ends up in disciplinary action for Michigan, if Jim Harbaugh gets fired, suspended, any of that stuff, might that impact Bryce Underwood's decision? I don't know. So we'll ask Shea that in about 25 minutes. So Shea Dixon, of course, on 3, the Bengal Tiger. From that perspective, it is relevant here, but what's going to happen to Jim Harbaugh? Is he going to get suspended? I don't know. I mean, the latest is that the Big Ten has informed Michigan that they could face disciplinary action. Michigan's asking for due diligence. The Big Ten could, under their bylaws, suspend Jim Harbaugh for 2 games and fine Michigan $10,000. So, I mean, there's some things the Big Ten can do. If they do suspend Jim Harbaugh, Michigan is expected to explore legal options against the league. So there's all this hullabaloo. Again, I really don't care. I think it's kind of funny. My point that remains, from the very beginning, everybody cheats. If people start shining a light on your program, maybe it's not videoing the sideline, but it's something. It's something. So we all went through this here locally with the Will Wade stuff. I mean, every college basketball program that wins cheats. You're paying players, you're using runners, agents, whatever. It's how you win. You cannot win in major college basketball running a clean, quote-unquote, by definition program. So really in any major college sport. So everybody's cheating by the letter of the NCAA law. I don't care. So I don't care that they were videoing sidelines. Just don't come look at my program. It's the whole glass house. Don't throw rocks in a glass house. Anyway, but how does it affect Bryce Underwood? We'll ask Shea Dixon a little more than 20 minutes from right now. All right, y'all. It's after further review. Love telling you about Pure Restoration. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. Hey, I told you this story. Of course, Pure Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog. If you got mold or odor or any of that stuff, Pure Restoration can help. They saved a school. I love this story. They saved a school $2 million. They had a mold problem, thought they were going to have to throw away all the furniture, desks and everything. Pure Restoration went in. They sprayed their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. They saved that school $2 million in furniture costs. I'm telling you, before you go do the whole demolition, renovation, all that sort of stuff, call Mold Zero. It's a faster, more effective method. Mold-Zero, I shouldn't even say that because they're now Pure Restoration. I got to correct myself. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. Same great company, same great people, same great product, new name. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama football unsure about the status of Devontae Lawson and Jalen Key for this week's game against Kentucky. Key suffered a quad injury in the first quarter against LSU. Lawson was seen wearing a walking boot post-game. Alabama, of course, riding a 7-game winning streak. They're heading up to Lexington this week.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Running back Kerryon Joyner. I'll drop my paper ball. There it is.
I can't throw it. How about that?
It's over in the corner. Oh, you don't tell me what I can do. I'll get that paper ball, throw it right in your face. Kerryon Joyner suffered an ankle injury. By the way, we've already got entries for the Matchler.
Hey, that's a good sign.
I was worried.
We got some action then. All right.
That was my biggest fear, Muse.
Yeah.
What if we had nobody enter the Matchler
Thanks
contest?
for the confidence there.
Well, it's not about that.
Sounds like it's about that.
Okay, it's a little bit about that.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, you put on a thing, you think people will be interested, but you never know. It's not a you thing, it's just a thing. Like, you never know. Are people actually going to like the promotion?
Yeah.
Does people want to go watch Aqua? I don't know. But we've already got it. So we're guaranteed, Muse, that you got at least somebody's going on a date with you, Muse. I got you a date, brother.
How about that?
How about it?
Boom.
So good. To carry on, Joyner, ankle injury against Jacksonville State. He's out against Vandy. Tight end Trey Knox, questionable for Vandy. Offensive lineman Trey Jones, out against Vandy for South Carolina.
The Missouri Tigers.
New Missouri men's basketball center Connor Vanover will miss the first 3 games of the season. He participated in an off-season NCAA showcase tournament. It's a result of an NCAA ruling. He was at the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament in April, which showcases senior college basketball players to professional scouts. It sounds kind of stupid. Like, why would you have this thing if he couldn't go to... Anyway, so he's a grad student who transferred from Oral Roberts. Like, why would you have this thing if it's going to cost these people their eligibility? It sounds kind of stupid, but that's just the nature of it. Okay, SEC men's basketball got tipped off last night. Oregon beat Georgia 82-71. That was out in Las Vegas. Tennessee, no issues with Tennessee Tech, 80-42. SC Upstate got pounded by South Carolina, 82-53. Ole Miss, how about that little debut there? New coach there, Chris Beard, for Johnny Reb. They beat Alabama State of the SWAC, 69-59. Would have expected a little bit of a better performance there from Chris Beard's group. Missouri beats Arkansas Pine Bluff 101-79. Arkansas, ranked 14th, they beat Alcorn State 93-59. Bama hit triple digits, 105-73 over Morehead State. Kentucky beats New Mexico State by 40, 86-46. We know LSU beat Mississippi Valley 106-60. Florida beats Loyola of Maryland by 20, 93-70. And Texas A&M beat A&M Commerce 78-46. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. If you need office equipment, you need Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. If they can't get to you the same day, they'll get to you by 10 a.m. the next day. Check out our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Oh, by the way, Vanderbilt tips off their season tonight against Presbyterian. And Bruce Pearl and Auburn are playing Baylor in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the Sanford Pentagon.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's a place to hold a preseason or a early season tournament. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Drive tourism in Sioux Falls.
You know, I remember seeing this thing one time where people in North Dakota wanted to drop North from the state's name because they felt that South Dakota, their tourism, the tourism in South Dakota, I don't have the stats in front of me, but is dramatically higher than tourism in North Dakota. And they felt that there was a bias against the word North, and so people were more inclined to go to South Dakota than North Dakota. I would like to remind everybody in North Dakota that it has nothing to do with North and everything to do with Mount Rushmore.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yes.
Idiots. It's your fault you live in North Dakota.
But hey, go Bison.
Bison.
They say Bison.
Bison.
North Dakota State.
The Bison.
How about them?
It's like Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. For sure.
You don't say Louisville.
No, some people do.
You don't, though. They say Louisville, so it's Louisville.
Yeah, you should say what they say.
It's like New Orleans. It's not New Orleans.
Oh, that's the worst.
Or Nolans. Nobody here says Nolans. Nobody.
I used to like.
Do you know any human that lives in the state that says Nolans?
No.
Nobody.
I used to like UNO's baseball uniforms that said Nolans. Those were solid.
That's fine. Nobody here says Nolans, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't.
Everybody says New Orleans.
Correct.
So you say New Orleans. That's how you say it. All right, it's after further review. We'll wrap up the hour next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Commercial or residential. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Remember, I've been reminding you, and I want to keep pushing this message because the response has been great, and I just understand that if you're a business owner and you have a commercial building, why this is so relevant. Hudco offers a silicone coating product. Actually used this product at the Drusilla Shopping Center in Baton Rouge on all the buildings there, and dozens of others as well. But if you own a commercial building, flat roof, metal roof, and you're having issues with your roof, there's no need to replace that roof right away. For roughly half the amount of a roof replacement, you can use this silicone coating product that comes with a 20-year warranty. 20 years. You're basically done worrying about your roof for 2 decades for half the cost. But you got to call HUDCO. 364-1007, 364-1007, or HUDCOroofing.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I don't know if I want to talk about the Sunshine video yet.
Well, I have some tractor songs coming a little bit later in the show. If you
Okay.
want,
You haven't had any yet this hour.
Not yet this
You're supposed
hour.
to have one. You're supposed to have like 2 an hour reviews.
No, it's supposed to be 1 an hour.
No, 2 an hour.
And I'm gonna make up for it here later in the show. We had to.
We had to what?
We had to go through a couple, make sure that's really where I wanted to go today.
With the tractors?
Yeah, man. Sometimes I have one like in my head, and I'm like, oh, this will be good, and then it doesn't actually. Like when I go back and listen to it. It's not enough. Like, it's not enough John Deere. It's not enough tractor. It's just
about the vibe, Muse. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll tell you this. Last week, though, I was out in a sugarcane field with our guy Taylor O'Brien, very talented videographer, and Jacoby and Guillory.
Oh.
Tank. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, huh? Well, I just blew it. Jacoby and Guillory is the NIL athlete partnered. Look, they got it all over their social anyway. Jacoby and Guillory is the NIL athlete partnered for the A&M game. He's from Ash, Alexandria Senior High. So I think he told me he used to, like, in high school, would, like, his high school job was he would drive tractors and stuff like that. So very, very deeply rooted in agriculture in the state. Of course, the A&M or the Aggies and all. So it's like, hey, take that, Ags. We're actually the Ag State.
Boom.
Not you, morons. But that's coming up in a couple weeks. The one right now that's live now is a video. I'm not going to talk about it yet. I'm talking about it soon enough. But I think if the greatest NIL, what do you think is the greatest NIL video ever?
It's got to be Dakota's Crawford.
Okay, we all think the same thing. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Dakota's Crawford, the AC thing, that's probably the best one ever. And I don't know that anything's ever going to beat that. It's just too perfect because it's a play on his name and all this sort of stuff. I think this is the second best ever.
Okay.
I think it's the second best ever, especially considering the opponent, the week, and if you wait for it to the very end, there is a little, as they call it, Easter egg. You know, like there's an Easter egg in there. For those that know.
I love this.
There's an Easter egg.
Those are always good.
For those that know. You know, like Easter eggs are like hidden.
It's like a hidden.
Yeah, like a little
gem,
hidden nugget in there. Hidden nugget in there.
If you know, you know.
IYKYK.
There you go. If you know, you know.
There's a little Easter egg in there. Okay. Muse, give me some college football music, if you would, please, because I want to talk about these bowl projections that are out right now. We know that LSU isn't going to the college football playoff. They're not going to the, well, I guess they could go to the New Year's Six. I don't think that that's likely, though.
Not with Bama and Ole Miss there, man.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, and Ole Miss in a couple of weeks as well. So what are we looking at, Muse, on the updated bowl projections this week?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of still a lot of the same. Like, if you look at ESPN and Kyle Bonagora and Mark Schlabach, both of them have LSU facing Notre Dame.
Why would they have LSU facing Notre Dame?
Oh, because LSU's current coach, Brian Kelly, used to coach at Notre Dame. And he left Notre Dame to come to LSU so we could try and win a national championship.
Yeah, because he's not doing it there.
No, he's not, and Notre Dame got really upset about it. But the difference is Bonagora has him in the Gator Bowl and Schlabach the ReliaQuest Bowl. Jerry Palm over at Tennessee, over at CBS. I don't know where Tennessee came from. Has LSU faced an NC State in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
So ReliaQuest is the old Outback Bowl.
The old Outback Bowl. Yep.
That's still like 11 a.m. on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
just
want that
without
at
the
all.
blooming onion.
I don't want that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. That sounds awful.
It's horrible, this idea.
It's very, very bad.
It's horrible.
And then, let's see, I have a couple more here.
Yeah?
Brett McMurphy and Brad Crawford.
Heard of them both?
Yeah, both have LSU Notre Dame in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Man, a lot of LSU Notre Dame.
Man, that's how you create intrigue, man.
Who do they have in the Citrus Bowl? I'd rather go back to the Citrus Bowl.
I believe it's Tennessee.
I would. Oh. That makes sense. You can't spell citrus without UT.
You can't spell citrus without UT.
Man, you know what I'm pulling for?
I know what you're pulling for, yes.
If you're not going to be in the New Year's Six, if you're not going to be in the college football playoff, I have no interest in the stupid game in Tampa at 11 a.m., even if it's against Notre Dame. And even though LSU is going to be there for the season opener next year, I'll go to Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
What I want. Give me that. Who does he have in the Las Vegas Bowl?
Who? Yeah, I mean, we went through 4 people there.
Any of them. I don't know.
Any of them. All right, well.
Pick one.
Well, all right, we're picking.
Usually that's going to be a Pac-12 foe, yeah?
Whoa, what is this?
NFL Stadium. I mean, look, LSU did this last year. Finished their season in Orlando in the Citrus Bowl Stadium, Camping World Stadium. Started this year, same place. So why not do the same thing? You're starting next year out in Vegas. Let's just get an early trip to Vegas.
I mean, look, I'm all for that.
Way better than the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, it is way better. Let's see. Brett McMurphy, Matt, has. And also he has Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. How about that? Vegas Bowl. Where are we at? Vegas Bowl. Here we go. Arizona and Nebraska in the Vegas Bowl at Action Network. Brett McMurphy. Yeah.
I'd go play Arizona. I'd go play Nebraska.
Yeah.
Let's go play Nebraska in Vegas.
Ooh, Matt Rule.
I'd love to beat up on Nebraska in Las Vegas. That'd be great. All right. All right, Shea Dixon's going to join us next. Talk a little Crute and Bryce Underwood. What's all this Michigan hullabaloo mean for the number one quarterback for 2025? That's next, AFR.
AFR.
Hey, coming up on Monday, I'll be over at the Williamson Eye Center. Hopefully you'll join us. They're calling it Bubbles, Bourbon, and the Best Vision Ever. Go to the website to register. So space is going to be limited. This isn't one of those things where it's like, space is limited, but it's not really limited. No, in a very literal sense, they can't have people just flood through here, and they're also going to have food and champagne and whiskey and stuff. So there is going to be a limited number of people that are allowed. So go to the website at williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com, and you can enter or register and schedule your spot for Bubbles, Bourbon, and Best Vision Ever. 5:30 to 7:30 again on Monday the 13th. 5:30 to 7:30. As soon as AFR ends, I'm jetting over there. Jimmy Ott will be there. Very informal. Doctors talking about all the different refractive procedures and all of your different options. Would love to see you there. Get to the website to register at williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Rookie Will Levis is the Titans starting quarterback the rest of the season. That announcement today from Coach Mike Vrabel. Ryan Tannehill is the backup when he's healthy enough to return. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Rams signing quarterback Carson Wentz amid injury concerns to Matthew Stafford. Cardinals activated quarterback Kyler Murray from the PUP list. If all goes well this week, Murray, coming back from a torn ACL, will return Sunday and play against the Falcons. No matter how well Murray plays, though, he probably can't save his job in Arizona, believes unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
I don't know that there's anything Kyler Murray can do that can justify the opportunity cost on passing on one of those young signal callers, because it's not just about that quarterback having to be better than Kyler Murray at some point in the foreseeable future. It's also about Kyler Murray being able to justify the amount of money that he's going to be paid relative to what that quarterback that they draft would cost.
Currently, Cardinals hold the top overall pick in the upcoming draft. Kansas basketball coach Bill Self signed an amended 5-year contract, $13 million this season, $53 million over the next 5 years, according to ESPN's Jeff Borzello.
Brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel. Plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt. Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. Talk some beer with Feinswog. Probably some basketball, too, here in about 15 minutes from right now. Been making this a pretty regular spot here on Tuesdays, and I'm excited about it. Shea Dixon, just simply the best from On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Talking a little recruiting with us here as we move through this season, an inch closer to the December signing period. Shady, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. I saw Hayes Fawcett over there at On 3. Actually been a friend of the show for a long time. Posted a graphic that Bryce Underwood, the number 1 player in the country for 2025, is down to his top 7. Oh, down to 7, Shea. But as we've talked about, there seems to be pretty much a consensus that this is a 2-school race with Michigan and LSU. Any reaction to that top 7, by the way, as we start?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think that it's been one of those things where he is down to a couple of teams from really the get-go, and we've been waiting to see if a third team would emerge. It hasn't really happened. A number of the schools he put on that list already have quarterback commitments and who are like top 100 guys. For instance, Oregon has Akili Smith, who's a legacy. Colorado's quarterback commit is a legacy. So there's a good feeling that it does kind of come down to these two teams when he decides on January 6th. And yes, it is a final 7, and he had 40-something, 50-something college offers that he whittled it down to. And look, and if you're not a recruiting fan or a female listener who's just flipped over onto your show right now, Matt, and they're wondering what's happening, it's that moment in The Bachelor, right, where there's like 10 girls left, but everyone's like, he's going to pick one of these two, like for sure. These other girls are all just going to disappear eventually. So we're in that spot, I think. I firmly believe that unless someone comes in and makes some major splash late, that it's Michigan or LSU.
Don't discriminate, Shea. There's a lot of guys that love The Bachelor. I see it on the Twitter machine all the time. All right, so if it's LSU and Michigan, the big question I have for you, Shea, is all the scandal that's going on around Michigan, how does this have any impact on Bryce Underwood's recruitment?
I'd say, I guess it'd be foolish to say none, but I don't think it has as much impact as just the reality of how he views Michigan and LSU and the programs they are and the coaches that are there and kind of the build-up, the vibe he feels. Obviously, this is one of those things where Bryce isn't paying attention to the ins and outs. He even went on record this past weekend with On 3 when he was asked about it by our Michigan site. And he said, look, I see what y'all do. I read all the news, but I'm not. That can't play into my decision right now. I got to keep my head down and focus on relationships, focus on my future. What will be, will be. So if there is some shakeup at Michigan before he announces, then it's obviously news. Right now, it's not. I am sitting on the sort of side of the debate that would say, if I'm an LSU fan, I don't want anything to happen at Michigan, which sounds funny, right? Like they're undefeated, they're going to the playoffs. J.J. McCarthy is in the Heisman race, and you're saying you don't want sanctions to come down, you don't want to know. Because what happens if they hire a new staff? And what happens if everyone all of a sudden, that's all the rage is, look who Michigan hired, and we're all going there. And then all of a sudden there's a bunch of pressure for an in-state kid to stay home. Right now, that's not the case. It's not like Michigan's racked up 24 top 100 kids and are like, Bryce, you're the only one left. That's the kind of stuff that can happen when you have a coaching change of that big of a magnitude. So if I'm an LSU fan, I'm hoping to get through January 6th and nothing happens with Michigan.
I'm putting you on the spot here, Shea. Can you think of a comp where a coaching change impacted one of the top players or the top player in the country or something that's even comparable to that? Because you're right. I mean, I think that my assumption would be you would love for chaos at Michigan because Bryce Underwood would say, let me go where there's stability and I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, so you're saying would there have been a situation where there was, and it worked out in favor of the school that had the coaching change?
Yes.
I guess I'd have to think of the major coaching change.
Would this make sense? Ryan Perrilloux, who was 5-star, was committed to Texas. Les Miles comes in and he ends up flipping to LSU.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good example. You dug deep. I was trying to think too recently. Yeah, I think that's a good example of a type of thing that can happen. I can also say that there were, and to a much lesser degree, a quarterback's the most valuable thing you've got on the field. But remember, when Dylan Moses went to Bama, he just went on record and said, if Les Miles was still the coach, I'd go there. And that's why I was committed there. But he's not, so I'm not going there anymore. So we've certainly seen a lot of that. You know, kids who are committed to a school when you have a coaching change defect, or they end up sticking. It's why LSU signed, 15 kids the first year Brian Kelly took over. It was a lot of Louisiana guys like Will Campbell who were like, I don't care. I'm going there no matter what. I don't really care who the coach is.
Yeah. Man, this is it's fascinating to think LSU's in the mix for the top player in the country and might be able to pluck him out of Michigan. We'll see as they get closer. Shea, I would imagine the season that LSU's having offensively, and Jaden Daniels, of course, is one of the primary reasons why LSU is having so much success in this recruitment with Bryce Underwood?
Well, I think it was relationships and just the feel of Bryce early on had said when he emerged as a national prospect as a sophomore, a reminder, he's on pace now he's a junior. He won a state title as a freshman. He won a state title as a sophomore, and he certainly could win it again here as a junior. So he's a guy who emerged early on as a national recruit, and he talked a lot about wanting to go to the SEC. I think that LSU built on that. LSU became the only SEC school that he really kind of fell in love with in terms of and I think sometimes, Matt, we're in this bubble, right? We're here. We've been here. A lot of these other kids come here and see the team and see the feel around the program and what Tiger Stadium's like. And when you witness it for the first time, it's a level of swagger. It's this confidence. They turn out guys to the NFL. It's stuff that we take for granted because we're in it. But all these other guys see it, and they're infatuated by it. So I think that kind of hooked him on LSU, and Joe Sloan and the staff did a really good job of having relationships that were able to put them neck and neck with a school like Michigan, who's an hour down the road from them and halfway across the country for LSU. That was over the summer. So, I would have called it, boy, this is a tight race in the summer. Now, yes, Michigan's undefeated. Yes, J.J. McCarthy's in the Heisman race. No one's talking about them like they're talking about a 3-loss Jaden Daniels, who is leading the country in total offense, who is number 2 behind Caleb Williams in passing touchdowns, who has the second most rushing yards by a quarterback in the country right now, and with 3 losses is doing what guys like RG3 did, which is put himself still in that conversation because he was so good and the team he was surrounded by and the offense was so good that they just kept putting up video game numbers. And that, I think, as the season has played out, has really been a nice card for LSU to play because it's now, look what all you'll have around you. Look what Jaden Daniels did. Imagine what you can do in this system.
Yeah. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon, on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, LSU loses to Bama. There's 3 games to go. When you look at this class where LSU got 26 commitments already, how much significance for this recruiting class are the final 3 weeks of this season? And honestly, Shea, final 3 home games and 3 opportunities to get recruits on campus before that December signing period?
Yeah, paramount for the reason you said, at least right into the December signing period, which is when the majority of your recruits are going to sign anyways. So if you stumble down the stretch, Matt, you've gone backwards, right? You overexceeded in year 1 of Brian Kelly, and then you fell below your limit or kind of mark in year 2. And it's what Brian Kelly said on Monday. It is important to win out. Why? Because you get to 9 wins. And what happens then? You get a chance at 10. And you can step back and then say, look, took over a program with back-to-back 500 finishes in the regular season. Hey, when I got here, they had 36 scholarship players, and we're coming off the first losing season since DiNardo was the head coach in the 90s. And now you've got back-to-back 10-win seasons. So in one of those seasons, you won the West. And the other season, you had the number 1 offense in the country. You'll be a top 15 team again. You'll be back in that conversation all offseason, just like they were a year ago when they beat a nobody Purdue team in, a nobody bowl. But that didn't matter. They won 10 games. Oh, they're getting hyped up now as a team that's got a lot of buzz around them. They finished with a top 5 class. So you cannot stumble. And then I'll note, and yes, beating Florida important, but they're going head-to-head and will go head-to-head with A&M a lot on the recruiting trail. You need to win out, but you need to win that last game, because then you put a firm stamp on, here's how A&M finished, and here's how LSU finished. And if it's touching another 10-win season versus A&M, who has had one 10-win season in 20 years, since 1999, really. 1998, I think, only had one 10-win season since then. That's a big deal. You're selling results. I say it all the time on your show. Kids don't care about one game. No kid has ever decommitted or committed to a school because of one game. But a season's worth of games, that's the trajectory of your program, and that's what you're paying attention to. So closing strong here is of the utmost importance.
Cheer against the Aggies and hope they retain Jimbo. That's what we're all pulling for. That's what we're all pulling for here. All right, before you go, visitor list or anything of note for this weekend with Florida coming in?
Yeah, they're starting to put all that together now, and we'll get a feel for it. It's tough, too, because, remember, all across the country, playoffs are starting. So many guys are locked in Friday night or playing on Saturdays. And a lot of these states play playoff games on Saturdays. So it makes it a little bit shorter. I know Devon Key's one of their linebacker commitments. He'll make his official visit this weekend instead of December. But, again, he's a guy who in December will probably still be playing in the playoffs with Aledo in Texas. So most guys will wait until December to make that official visit. But they will have some guys in. I think the one big name I'm watching is Gabe Relaford out of Evangel up in North Louisiana. He's committed to A&M, but he's already made 2 visits to games this year. And he had told On 3 that he was planning, at least, to come down for this game. So if he does come down and make it, I think that 3rd visit would be huge. And then you're firmly in the mix for a kid that you really need at his position, which is D-line.
Night game against Florida in Tiger Stadium. Should be a great scene. He is Shea Dixon, On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Follow him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, we appreciate it, man. Be well. We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, thanks, Shea. We appreciate you as always. It's After Further Review. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. You ain't never heard no tractor song about anything other than a John Deere. Of course, zero-turn mowers. And, man, gators right now, with it being hunting season, are huge. Make sure you find that Sunshine dealer near you. 17 from Bunkie and below. Sunequip.com. Sunequip.com. It's After Further Review. Let's talk some beer and some basketball with Lee Feinswog next.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Give them a buzz, 752-0001, 752-0001. If you haven't yet had that preseason heater safety check, keep reminding you, they don't keep the discount on the safety check forever. So once we get into the season, that goes away. But it's worth doing right now. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Have a technician come out to your house. The preseason heater safety check. They'll knock $30 off the price just for mentioning the show. Mention the Moscona special. They'll save you $30 in that preseason heater safety check. They'll come out to the house. They get in the attic. They'll check your home central heater. Make sure the thing is clean, safe, efficient. So when it's cold, you're running your heater around the clock, you don't have to worry about it being inefficient or hazardous. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Their technicians are just the best, and the customer service is always exceptional. More than twice the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. There's a reason, because for 40 years they've been the best. It's River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
Well, you told me that if I had headphones on that I would hear the music, and I didn't.
Huh, weird. Are you having muses or something you need to play to feed that through to where he can hear it? But you can hear me fine, yes?
That's what matters. I can hear you. I got on the good Apple headphones that I love. I've traveled internationally with these and just absolutely love them.
Good.
So I hope I sound okay. And
well,
it looks funky because they're so big. You know, most people do these Zooms with the little white, tiny ones in their ears. But I said, I'm bringing out the big dog for you.
No, I'm glad you did. And look, I got big over-the-ear headphones on. But here's the other thing too. So whenever you were not using headphones last week, there's two other things that happen. Number one, and this is, I guess, for the benefit of the audience so they know how it's transpiring. So for those who are listening and not watching, Lee is doing a Zoom video with us. So for those watching, they can see Lee. Number one, we hear a little bit of my playback through your speakers when you're not using headphones. That's one. And number two, you also, when you're speaking, if I speak to interject in some way, you don't hear me. So headphones are great for a lot of, it just makes the conversation way better when you wear headphones. That's all. So it's good. I'm glad. They look great. I love your Apple headphones. They look great.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, can I tell you about these headphones?
Please. I would love to hear all about them.
So this past summer, I went to Japan, and I'm an incredibly meticulously well-organized traveler. I've got everything in its place. I have some things that go just on the road. They never get touched unless they're in the suitcase, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And on the flight from Atlanta to Atlanta from Baton Rouge, I said, I'll listen to some music while I read for the short flight. And I opened my headphone case, and my Bose fancy headphones were not in the case. And I knew exactly where they were. They were still on my desk when I got home 3 weeks later. So when we got to Atlanta, I had two choices. And the only choice for the upcoming 15-hour flight to begin with was buy new headphones. And so these are very pricey. And so the vacation got off to quite a good start, down $6 just to start with. Worth every penny of it, though. And Brenda was happy because she had a pair that weren't as good as the Bose, so she got upgraded.
When you said $6, my initial thought was that you were talking $6,000, but I'm assuming you mean $600.
No. $600.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I figured.
It's a great pair of headphones.
So, yeah.
Well, look,
Hey,
these that I'm wearing are probably, these are Sony over-the-ear professional headphones, which are, when they were bought, were probably in the $500 range. So, yeah,
no doubt.
Good headphones cost a lot. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. So one more big question I have for you before you get to be the host and ask me the questions.
Okay.
Are you coming on Sports 225 tomorrow?
So I am in meetings tomorrow literally from 9 a.m. until at least 12:30. I'm in a meeting from 9 to 11, then 11 to 11:30, then 11:30 to 12:30. So I'm just like boom, 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 boom. So depending on when you record the show depends on my answer.
Well, whenever I can get you, because when you got a chance to get a Matt Moscona on a minor league TV show, you do it.
1 o'clock tomorrow, we're recording. I'm in.
Big go. Good. So for those of you listening at home or in your cars, you get more of this. Oi.
Why wouldn't anybody want more of this?
I hope they would. I hope
know.
they would. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great. Better than Kim Mulkey today. How about that transition, huh? How about that, huh?
Hey,
wow. Do you think, by the way, I think actually she's fired up that they lost. Because now she can get their attention to say, yeah, you thought you were never. Nope, no, you better show up and work.
I haven't heard anything from their side going, hey, this is unfair criticism. But in fact, I saw once Glenn Gilbo reposted a story from somebody on Outkick, which just was chock full of social media hatred towards the Lady Tigers, who brought it on themselves a little bit because of their, no other way to put it, arrogant nature in which they, went to winning the national championship last year. But in their way, in their defense, you haven't heard them go, oh, don't criticize us. Yeah. They know that they got their butts whipped, and they're open for the criticism because they've done so much trumpeting winning the national championship and then all the great things for them that went with it. And I don't deny them any of that and wish them well. The money they've made, the fame they've gotten, the fun they've had. But to your point, quite an awakening from playing an exhibition game against East Texas Baptist when you won 99-26 or Loyola when you won 121-36. I can't think that prepared you very well, nor will Queens coming in, which is a D3 just recently moving up. And I pity the Queens.
Yes.
I always enjoy in men's volleyball, they actually in the same area, they play each other. Queens plays King.
What's King?
Did I hear? King is a small school in Tennessee, I think, maybe North Carolina. I don't know. Okay. But Queens plays King. They have men's volleyball. So, and then they play Mississippi Valley State. So, you don't get a barometer of how they're really going to bounce back because, they're going to kick the living crap out of these next couple opponents.
Yes.
But to your point, a lot of times for a coach, did she think they were going to go undefeated? No. And so you might as well get that and get their attention. I imagine practice yesterday and today was, today. Yeah, it was spicy.
Well, they're probably traveling home. I don't think they practice. I think you have to have the 24-hour rule of the NCAA after you play. You got to have a down period. But They play Virginia Tech, who's ranked number 8 in the preseason, on November the 30th. So they'll roll over everybody they play, and then we'll see on November the 30th how much better they've gotten. But I don't know. I don't know if you look in covering coaches and all. You would always rather learn difficult lessons through a win than a loss. But especially in a sport like basketball, where you play so many games, you can afford a loss at the beginning of the season, obviously. Like if you're Kim Mulkey, you're probably not upset that they lost because now you can go to your team and say, you see, you are beatable.
Well, there's a couple things, too. It's not like this loss is going to cost them a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Colorado's going to move up considerably because of this and maybe is really good and will continue to be good. So once you play a team, you want them to win every game. Right? LSU wants Colorado to go undefeated for the RPI strength or whatever the heck they call it now in basketball.
The net ranking.
Yeah, but I mean, these two teams combined for 40 turnovers last night. That's brutal. Very brutal.
That's a lot
Very
of
brutal.
turnovers. But the men's team went out and beat Mississippi Valley by 46 points.
Again, what? All right, so if you're the men's basketball team, you're picked to finish, I think, 13th out of 14 in the SEC. You have 0 players who make the all-SEC preseason team. So everything that you do past that is an attaboy and a way to go. So, I mean, if they finish 12th or 11th, right? And you look at this roster, and it's very well deserving of a 13th pick. So every victory they get and can feel good about themselves, the better. And then maybe through a schedule like this where, you come back and you play, Nichols. I don't know how good Dayton is this year, but you go to the Charleston Classic and you got a chance to get a couple. You got North Florida before. And finally, when you get to Syracuse, maybe you built up some confidence and you can play them tough. It's now called, I see, the JMA Wireless Dome, no longer the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York.
Correct. And I would also like to point out that a year ago, LSU started 5-0, then lost in a sort of controversial manner to Kansas State, then won their next 6. So they started 11-1 in the pre-conference and won their SEC opener against Arkansas, and then the rest of the way won exactly one more league game. So the fact that they beat the ever-living mess out of a SWAC school last night should give you no false sense of confidence whatsoever. They'll be challenged a bit later, and I'll be interested to see how the second iteration of a Matt McMahon basketball team looks as opposed to the first.
Well, that game was at home, but I never forget the first time I covered a basketball game at Mississippi Valley State. Oh my. Just out there in the middle of the Delta, and all of a sudden this little town pops up, and then there's this little school. I imagine it's probably changed in a million years since, but I felt alone.
It is, but you know what? The other thing I'll say that I am glad to see that LSU is going to have the opportunity to go play at Syracuse because obviously there's no Jim Boeheim anymore. But when you're LSU, it is very hard to get notable. And I understand Syracuse isn't great; they're not even ranked, but to get notable teams to schedule you in the non-conference. You know what I mean? Like. Duke is never going to schedule LSU. Kansas, UCLA, like you're never going to get those games. So when you have the opportunity to play Dayton, to go to Syracuse, those are good opportunities for this program right now.
Well, not even so much from a competitive end. So let's just say arbitrarily that they're going to lose that game, okay? And maybe not, but it's an opportunity for this young team to get on the road. And the only other chance they have before that is the trip to Charleston, but you play 3 games in 3 days or 4 days, and you don't have as much chance to maybe do the team kind of stuff that you want. So those are opportunities where maybe they get, a little bonding. Maybe they have a good performance. Plus, this is the first year post Jim Boeheim for Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And worth noting that Jimmy Boeheim was an assistant coach when I was a student there.
Oh, well, that's great. He's 78 years old, just a few days older than you.
A little bit more than that. But, Jim Boeheim replaced Roy Danforth.
No, I didn't know that.
Roy Danforth left Syracuse to take the job at Tulane so he could be closer to his family in Mississippi.
Oh, and now you know the rest of
about
the
that.
story.
Trivia. He was on staff there, yep.
If you had a Heisman vote, would you vote for Jaden Daniels first place right now?
Yeah, probably still. These last few games certainly, I hope matter in the balloting. But, and of course, if he misses this game, then that might take him out of the running too. What's your feeling on that? You think he's going to play?
I do.
Yeah.
And by the way, just as a quick update, DraftKings, after Saturday with his injury, had taken Jaden Daniels off of their board. He did not have odds. Jaden Daniels is back on the DraftKings odds board now, and I even checked this before we came on air. He still wasn't there. So the fact that he is back on the board, I think, is actually a really good indicator that he's trending toward playing this week. But Daniels is now at plus 1,600. So he's got the 7th best odds right now. So he dropped considerably. I believe he was around plus 300, 340 maybe going into this past weekend. But he's still on the board and still ahead considerably ahead of Jalen Milroe, who beat LSU on Saturday.
Well, I tell you, concussions are not to be taken lightly. Anybody you know who's ever had a bad one, and the symptoms and the long-term effects, and of course it's so documented in football if you have multiple. So I was glad they followed protocol. I know that LSU's been on the cutting edge of testing for it. They have helmets that are really good. I mean, the studies they've done with their offensive linemen are tremendous. And so I was glad that they erred on the side of caution there. There's that maybe doesn't happen everywhere. And for his sake, I hope it's a one-time thing and he comes back and he's fine. I mean, gosh, stories I know of athletes from far less wicked hits than that. Long-term headaches, vision problems, the noise is a problem. And if you're in football and you're a quarterback, all you do is go into situations where you're going to get pummeled, and the noise is really something else, and the concentration is hard. Those lights are really bright. I could go on and on. There's so many things there. So I hope for his sake he's okay, more than anything else.
Thankfully, my understanding is that everything associated was relatively mild. So that's a great thing. And when Brian Kelly said he's improving, that's a great thing. And I do think, if I had to call it today, I do think Jaden will play on Saturday. So that's all a great sign. Okay, and look, Saturday, when LSU's playing Florida, it'll be late at night. Might even have a little bit of nice weather. Be a really good opportunity to crack open a nice cold beer.
Oh, what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, beer. But I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. Beer. I could really use it. Beer, beer, beer.
Take it away.
Well, I'll drink this to that. So up until last night, I would tell you that Crying Eagle, which doesn't distribute anymore, I don't even know what their situation is. They had made a dark beer, a lager that I really liked. I can't remember the name of it. I remember the last time I had it was right at the start of COVID. And then Great Raft up in Shreveport does Reasonably Corrupt, which is a black lager. I know you've had it. It's a great beer. But let me tell you about Fallberg Velvet Voodoo. There you go. Get it right in there in the screen. A Dunkel style dark lager that is so good. I was skeptical when I tried it last night. I had another beer lined up, and I said, no, this is too good. It's 5.5%. From their notes, rich, malty, and smooth with a surprisingly sessionable, food-friendly profile. It tastes really good. I happen to eat it with sushi. I drink it with sushi. And
okay.
God, it was just great. And I saved a little bit for dessert, and it was good too. Their notes are worth reading because they're kind of. Velvet Voodoo is a rich and malty dark lager crafted in the traditions of the great German Dunkels that inspired it. This velvety smooth brew balances 5 premium roasted barley malts with Mount Hood hops. The result is a dark, mysterious brew known for its bewitching character and magical spirit. That's a bit much.
That is
surprisingly light bodied. Velvet Voodoo is a great session beer that is guaranteed to leave you spellbound. I'm just telling you, it's damn good. You know me. I'll tell you if I don't like a beer, I won't even put it on, and I gush over them if I just really like them. This was so good. My guy Joey left me another one too, from another brewery that's 18 to 20% alcohol, and I just wasn't man enough to drink it last night. Maybe I'll get that one before next week. I got to find somebody to split that bottle with me. Ooh, it was a Dogfish Head. But seriously, Velvet Voodoo from Fallberg, the artist formerly known as Dixie, well worth it. He'll thank me.
Thank you, Lee. We appreciate it.
All right, Matt, we'll talk to you on Sports 225.
I look forward to it. Get the Sports 225 YouTube channel, subscribe up. It's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We'll knock out a quick break. Saints will face another backup quarterback on Sunday. Their head coach talks about him. We'll hear from him next on AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, it's Tell you every day. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Wall Street Journal's listed the top 1,000 realtors in America. Darren James in the top 1%. Number 54 in the country. Actually think about that for a second and let that sink in. Of all the realtors in the country, Darren James in the top 1% of realtors across America. So if you're here in Baton Rouge, the Lafayette area, and you're thinking about selling your home, you need a realtor, why would you call anyone other than the realtor that sells more homes than anyone? Call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remember, the Guaranteed Sale Program. Sit with Darren, come up with a price and a deadline. If he doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash or sell it for free for his half of the commission. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
You know, just knowing that Jaron's going to be progressing through and coming off of Josh's performance yesterday, you know, we'll go into it, you know, with, you know, making sure we get Josh all the reps to start the football game. And then we do have Sean Mannion on the practice squad, who would be an option for us to elevate as well.
Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell making it official that Joshua Dobbs, the former Tennessee quarterback, will start for the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday against the Saints. If you weren't watching on Sunday, well, if you're not familiar, the very quick catch-up is Kirk Cousins ruptured his Achilles, and Sean Mannion, the Vikings backup, was on the practice squad, so they made a trade. Jaron Hall from BYU was the starter there. the backup who started. They made a trade for Dobbs. Hall was injured, and Dobbs had to go in on just basically 5 days preparation, 5 days with the Minnesota Vikings. There's a crazy video where on the sideline, when Dobbs is about to go in, he's taking snaps with his center and the rest of the offensive linemen are around him, and he's sitting there talking to him about his cadence. Like they literally, they never worked with him to know what his cadence would be, to know when to snap the ball or when to go or get a tell. So, I mean, in the middle of an NFL game, the quarterback is working with the offensive line on the sideline on his cadence. It was a crazy thing to behold, and it did not start well for Dobbs. He lost 2 fumbles and was sacked for a safety in the first 4 possessions against the Falcons. But then ultimately, they got in gear, and he accounted for 3 touchdowns, put up 224 yards from scrimmage, and led the game-winning touchdown drive. He threw the 6-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Powell with 22 seconds remaining and did the Saints a huge favor by beating Atlanta there in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And as a result of that and the performance, after a 1-7 start as the starter this year in Arizona, Dobbs will start this week for Minnesota against the New Orleans Saints. O'Connell, when he met with reporters, also was asked about kind of what he felt Dobbs showed him on Sunday leading that comeback in Atlanta.
He can be very confident in this offense with the players and other people in the huddle with him, that he can just progress from here and just continue to stack one day at a time and get more and more comfortable with everything we're asking of him, and we can shape a game plan around what he does best, and which are a lot of really good things.
Dobbs came into the league in 2018 in Pittsburgh. He's played in 17 career games, so he's got some experience, but not a ton of experience. And they're going to be down a few other weapons as well. Kevin O'Connell also confirmed that running back Cam Akers is out.
Cam Akers, it was confirmed this morning via an MRI. He did rupture his Achilles. Cam has been phenomenal in our locker room, on the field, with our team. He's, really enjoyed being a part of this and getting to be, with that group every single day. So we're going to be with him every step of the way in the recovery from this, and something he's been through before, and, came back remarkably fast from that.
Cam Akers was the second leading rusher behind Alexander Mattison for the Vikings. So one of their, I remember Dalvin Cook, that whole fiasco in the offseason, gone. So Cam Akers comes in and was the second leading rusher on the team. Now he's not available, so not only down Kirk Cousins, they're also now down Cam Akers. One more update. This was on from O'Connell on T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end who obviously they acquired via trade last year, and who has been really good so far this season. Here was the update on Hawkinson.
T.J. Hawkinson did, kind of sustain a rib midsection kind of injury there, battled through it, unbelievable toughness, and he'll be limited throughout the week, but, hopefully we can progress him to have him available as well.
He's got 60 receptions on the season already. I mean, in 9 games, Hawkinson already has 60 receptions. With Justin Jefferson out, that's obvious. And by the way, Jefferson is still the Vikings' leading receiver at 571 yards. Jefferson's missed 4 games, and he's still the team's leading receiver. But after Jefferson, Hawkinson is the leading receiver with 60 catches for 547. So Jefferson, for what it's worth, is eligible. He's missed his 4 games, so he is eligible to return off of IR. When O'Connell was asked about Jefferson, he said, quote, it's possible that he could return from IR this week. He said, quote, we're going to do what's best for Justin, make sure we're doing everything responsibly to make sure when Justin does return, he can be the Justin Jefferson we all know and expect to see out there. So, look, the Saints are 2.5-point favorite, and you kind of understand why. It's really remarkable that Minnesota was able to rally and win that game in Atlanta this past week. And I understand Atlanta has their struggles, and they're replacing Desmond Ridder with Heineke, but when you're down Justin Jefferson, you're down Kirk Cousins, you lose Cam Akers, Hawkinson gets injured during the game. The fact that they were able to rally is massively impressive. Remember, of course, Minnesota drafted Jordan Addison, who was the Biletnikoff Award winner at Pitt, transferred to USC, played last season there with Caleb Williams and under Lincoln Riley, and was a first-round pick of Minnesota this year. So They got weapons in Minnesota, but they're down some pretty notable weapons as well. And they got to face the Saints defense, which, based on reputation and at times how they play, the Saints defense has been really good. But we also saw the Saints outgained this past week by the Chicago Bears. We saw the Saints give up 27 points to Gardner Minshew and Indianapolis. They gave up 31 points at home to Jacksonville. So I'm not going to assume that the Saints are easily going to go on the road and put Minnesota in a chokehold, especially the way the Saints defense has struggled at the start of games. But facing Josh Dobbs instead of Kirk Cousins, no Cam Akers, potentially no Justin Jefferson, a limited TJ Hawkinson, a lot of those factors fall into favor for the New Orleans Saints in the last game before they go into their bye. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. If you haven't done so yet and you're interested, I'll keep reminding you about it. Get to the website at TractionSports.com. Holidays are almost here. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Traction has their holiday camps. So if you go to TractionSports.com, scroll down, you'll see the holiday baseball camps and the holiday speed camps, whichever you're looking for, ages 5 to 12. They got the holiday baseball camp where you'll learn fundamentals and positional instruction. They have team games. Think about it. If your son or daughter is looking for something to do, or you need something for your son or daughter to do during the holidays while you're at work and they're off of school, Traction's a great place. Full and half-day options for the Traction camps. Again, the Traction baseball camps and the Traction speed camps, which would benefit athletes in any sport. It's TractionSports.com to go register today. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay, y'all. Great day so far. We appreciate you for being with us. Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll knock out a break. Sean Salisbury's coming up after the top of the hour. We'll certainly talk about the day in Tuscaloosa and Jaden coming back off this injury. We'll talk about the Saints going up to Minnesota to play the Vikings this week and the task that Josh Dobbs has and Derek Carr getting back on track. We always appreciate when we have Sean Salisbury with us every Tuesday. So we'll do that coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. Quick break. Come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Don't you move.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two great hotel properties in Baton Rouge. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. If you're thinking of hosting your next event, remember, either property is an amazing option. The Watermark in downtown Baton Rouge is a piece of our city's history. The Watermark is the original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building, and they preserved a ton of that history. I'm serious. Like, even if you're not staying there, it's worth, if you're downtown, just to go stumble in there, have a drink at the lobby bar, just to see it. It's a gorgeous property. And, of course, the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet, as they call it, Southtown, right there across from Perkins Row. You can't miss it. Close proximity to I-10. Hey, look, home game for LSU football. You know where the Tigers will be on Friday, staying at the Renaissance Hotel. If the Renaissance can host the Tigers, they can host you. It's the Renaissance Hotel.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well.
He just takes the tractor another round and pulls the plow across the ground.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Strong work, Muse. An hour and 52 minutes into the show, you finally got me a tractor song. Appreciate it.
Well, okay.
Really great stuff.
There's-
Fantastic.
well,
way to be timely.
we had the
especially when we
open.
have to quickly transition to Tigers and the Pros. Awesome work, Muse. Awesome.
Had to get one in there. I mean, we have to play Lee's Sports Monday theme.
Muso as Tigers and the Pros. Now it's gone. See?
Tigers and the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Guy gets himself a date and all of a sudden it just loses his mind, Paulie. What's going on with this fellow?
Kevin Gosman yesterday evening named one of 3 finalists for the American League Cy Young.
Hey.
Joining Garrett Cole from the Yankees and Sonny Gray from the Twins. Gosman 12-9 in 2023, but struck out an American League leading 237. See when those results come back if he's got his first Cy Young.
I hope so.
I do too. That'd be really cool.
That'd be great.
Really cool. Jamar Chase, you might remember a play Sunday Night Football where he landed pretty hard on his back trying to make a acrobatic catch. Well, his status is a bit up in the air this weekend because of that back injury. While Zach Taylor, he didn't want to get too far out ahead of him because he said it's just sore right now, but it's something that they will monitor throughout the week. You also might remember that Justin Jefferson went on the public, on IR. On IR.
I do remember that.
And his 21 practice window was set to expire now with the Saints game on the horizon. That has expired. He will be activated, but is unlikely to play versus the New Orleans Saints, still dealing with that hamstring injury. That is per Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network. Yes, giant exhale there. Giant exhale. NBA basketball last night. Cam Thomas, he dropped 45. Remember he had that slow night last time out? It was like 13 points.
God.
He was going for 4 straight 30-point games.
45?
Yeah, he dropped 45 last night. Shot 17 of 33 from the field, 6 of 16 from behind the arc. Added 4 rebounds and 3 assists just because. 45 points. Ben Simmons, his teammate.
Did he?
Ben Simmons, his teammate.
Did he? Oh.
No, he only had 2 points, actually. But did have 15 rebounds. Solid night there for Benny Boy. Naz Reid.
Should have stayed.
14 points, 4 boards in the Timberwolves' victory over the Boston Celtics last night.
45.
45.
I'm looking at the Nets roster. I'm like, how is Cam just living with a green light? I mean, it wasn't that long ago. That team was just an NBA All-Star team.
I know.
KD and the fat guy with the beard, James Harden.
I just the fat guy with the beard, Santa. I just remembered. I meant to send you this earlier. He made a 3 from the logo. One of those 6 threes. Yeah, he's literally on the half court logo.
Well, in fairness, some logos stretch all the way.
Not
like
the
to
Nets,
the
though.
3-point.
Not the Nets isn't one of those. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You run me right up to the top of the hour. Muse, I tell you what, man. We gotta get you on. I don't know where your concentration is today. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. Thinking about all those Bachelor entries. That's what you're doing there, Muse. You can roll your eyes. Look at him blushing a little bit. He's blushing, Paulie. Lee Michaels.
AFR.
Hey, this Thursday is Christmas in November at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana in Lafayette. Of course, last Thursday was Baton Rouge. This Thursday, so in 2 days, Lafayette. 1 day only. Best sale of the year. Best prices on everything. If you can't make it in, you can call or go online. The specials are extended there as well. Christmas in November, this Thursday, Lafayette, Ambassador Caffrey and Lafayette, the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Get on by, tell a friend, take advantage of the 1 day only best sale price of the year on literally every product and service at the Lafayette Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Hey, we're getting near the holidays. A lot of times during the holidays, people party, they eat, you gain weight. If you want to get a jump start on that New Year's resolution and not see yourself balloon during the holidays, semaglutide could be a great option for you. They've got it at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Call and ask about it today. Online, theantiagingclinics.com.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Bird's marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Bird's marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Michigan has sent documents to the Big Ten that the school believes show 3 conference teams engaged in communications about the Wolverines' signals in 2022, reports ESPN's Adam Rittenberg and Tom Van Haren. The 3 teams, Rutgers, Ohio State, and Purdue. This as the Big Ten mulls over possible discipline for the Wolverines over alleged sign stealing and an NCAA investigation into the matter. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, activated from the PUP list, will make his season debut Sunday against the Falcons, provided all goes well this week. It is the right call for Arizona, says ESPN's Jeff Saturday.
If he's healthy enough to play, you need to see what he is, because we all know if you got a good QB, you can build around, and that's what they have to figure out. Gannon and the crew have to figure out if this is the guy they want to build around. If not, then you make an adjustment. But at this point, you got to play it.
Jeff Saturday on Carlin versus Joe. Murray is coming back from a torn ACL. An amended contract for Kansas basketball coach Bill Self, $13 million this season, $53 million over the next 5 years, reports ESPN's Jeff Borzello. Self will be the highest paid coach in college basketball.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Can Jaden Daniels still win the Heisman Trophy? And some TV ratings from the NFL game in Germany this past Sunday. Oh, my goodness. We all know the NFL is king, but it just continues to amaze every time they hit a new benchmark. We do it every Tuesday. Visit with our buddy Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Sports Talk 790 there in Houston, and one of the best football talkers you'll find anywhere, especially when it comes to talking offense and quarterback plays. Good enough to join us every Tuesday. Sean, we appreciate you, man. How are you? Sean, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Oh, you didn't get me now? You got me?
Got
you. Got me now? Yeah, I'm doing good, Matty. Thanks, man. Good to be on with you. I appreciate it.
Always, man. Saints have a unique challenge this weekend going to Minnesota. We'll get to that in the next segment. I want to start with LSU in the game in Tuscaloosa. Let me not start with Jaden. I want to start with Jalen. Sean, when you're watching that game through a quarterback's lens, why was Jalen Milroe able to run so freely against that LSU defense?
Well, Matty, it kind of played out like we said. If they were able to keep his feet alive and well, and they did, that's the strength, and they couldn't take it away. And this was a time when they ran the football with him to set up the throw, and he was efficient enough throwing it to keep them a little off balance, which is, I mean, he's gotten better every week. He really has, and you had mentioned that last week, but his feet are spectacular. Listen, LSU hasn't been able to get many stops this year against really good teams, and one, I don't think they could match their physicality up front, and we said that was paramount, meaning their defensive front seven against Milroe, and you have to defend so much bandwidth with the run game that it enabled them to hit enough throws also to keep the defense on. I mean, to keep the defense honest and allow him to do his thing. But listen, he's a pretty spectacular physical specimen when it comes to getting on the edge. He's fast. He's a good decision maker on the run with a football in his hand, running the football, meaning an RPO and understanding when to give and when to keep. And he's just got really explosive ability. And like I said, if this would have been a 21-point lead for LSU, I don't believe, now they may have stayed in this game plan, but If they were shutting down the run, I don't believe Alabama still is capable of throw, and win. They didn't have to last week. And it played out. The defense couldn't stop them. They rushed, 40-plus times, man. It's hard to stop somebody when you're rushing for 40-plus rushes and for, right around 300 yards, somewhere in there. So it was a dominant physical performance by him. And when he's that efficient throwing it, meaning not 40 throws, but in the 20s, and then running it like he did. And listen, Jaden matched him run for run damn near too. And neither team was overly explosive in the pass game. But those two quarterbacks, it was a back and forth, and they just weren't physical enough to deal with him. And once you get to him, that's another problem. I mean, you in space, and it's been a problem for LSU all year long defensively for the most part against good teams, is that you got to bring him down. This dude is a big, lower body physical guy and playing with a lot of confidence. Alabama did exactly, I would imagine, what they planned to do in this game offensively and make sure his feet were able to do it. He had, 20 rushes for like a buck, whatever it was. He had like 8 yards a carry, I think, for 160 yards or something. Yeah.
20 for 155,
Right. And if you could go to Nick Saban and say, we're going to rush it 40-plus times, we're going to throw it in the 20s, or the low 20s, and our quarterback's going to average almost 8 yards a carry and yards per attempt, almost 10 in the game. You couldn't have game planned it any better for Milroe, who, remember, lost his job early in the season. They come back to him, and he's been revitalized. And everything was in place for their offense to succeed, and they played against the defense that has had their troubles this year.
Literally every opponent LSU has played in the conference has had somebody hit a career high in something against LSU.
That's exactly right. I've seen that, and that movie's going on in a handful of decent schools this year. I mean, good teams that have offensive stuff. My alma mater, your LSU Tigers, man, they can score from the parking lot. The problem is that you can't blink because the other team's doing exactly what they want. And, Milroe is ironically, it's crazy, Matty, early in the season, I didn't think Alabama, I thought they were a little overrated, they can't find a quarterback. They're trying 3 different guys. They've settled in now, and they are a legitimate threat, not only in the SEC, but they're going to give the Georgias all they can handle if they can game plan like this, which won't be as easy against that team.
There was Brian Kelly on Monday said, he sort of conceded maybe they should have thought about using a spy on Jalen Milroe. It's interesting, Sean, because they did that against Jordan Travis week 1, and they got torched. So is it really a damned if you do, damned if you don't type thing with this defense, or do you think that could have worked?
I think that there comes a point in time when I think, Matt, when you're playing against a team like this, you go in with a game plan thinking, okay, here's what we're going to do. And when Brian Kelly says that, it tells me at some point during the game he should have. Just because it didn't work against one team and one quarterback, you never know. And Milroe's an explosive time. Florida State's got explosive talent at quarterback, and so does Alabama, especially when he's got the football and running the football. I am one of those, when you're playing this team, you got to be prepared to adapt and adjust during. I hate coming out of a game saying we should have.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't do it going in. But if it's not working, I empty the bucket. I would have gone into this game like I kind of told you, last week, and even before the 2 weeks ago before the bye, during their bye week, is that I can't let your best player, and on offense, really all around, the quarterback with the ball in his hand, their best runner, hell, he could play running back and rush for 1,500 yards. I can't let a guy who's played and got better every week, your best player can't beat me. I just can't let it happen. And unfortunately, and even though it may be the case because it's just this year, LSU's defense is not going to get stops. But if it takes forcing you to get into a fade throwing contest, meaning Alabama, where you're just throwing the ball vertical fade throwing, and I got to put every damn body I got 8-9 guys up and play man all across. And I know when they spread it out, you got to play guys in the slot, and you got to go small at times because you got to cover slot receivers. And then if you go big, the slot receivers, meaning keep your normal personnel in, now it's a problem in the passing game because those guys are too fast. So it could be damned if you don't. And finding a spy or a robber or somebody to spy the quarterback, it may not have worked because when you get to him, like I said, you still got to tackle him. I just think, Matty, we're going to have to settle for the fact that LSU's defense is not going to bail them out this year against good teams. They haven't yet. We're 9 games into the season. It ain't changing, my man, against a good team. It's just not. Offense doesn't play well. And even if they do and the other offense matches them, LSU's in trouble. I know what that feeling's like with my alma mater, SC. So it was one of those games. Alabama was the better team on Saturday, but they also allowed LSU to do everything they wanted to offensively, because this is what Nick wants to do. He doesn't want to throw it 40 times with Milroe, and he may not have to if this continues.
He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. So you mentioned SC, who we know. Look, LSU and SC are super comparable this year for pretty obvious reasons. They made the decision to fire Alex Grinch. There's been a lot of talk here about Matt House. Brian Kelly was on the Feinbaum show and said he'll evaluate that after the season. Where do you fall on that, Sean? Is there merit in making a decision to move on mid-season, or is it generally better to wait until after the season?
And from any coach, you're talking about this year defensively, you're talking about just like SC did with Grinch. Is that what you said, Matty?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I listen, I don't normally – maybe I'm a little soft. I mean, I'm a kinder, gentler Sean than I was a decade ago, maybe. But the frustration always looms because you're competitive. And for me, just using SC as an example, this isn't like 1 or 2 weeks, and it's been the same for LSU. This is every week. It doesn't matter. And Matty, it doesn't matter who they're playing, like you said. And it's the same with the Trojan. It doesn't matter if it's Stanford. It doesn't matter if it's Washington. It doesn't matter if next week. I mean, hell, Oregon's 17-point favorites, and the Trojans were a top 5 team a month ago or 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. So, and it's the same with LSU. So I don't usually subscribe because I don't know what, especially at head coach during the season, unless there's something so heinous, you get him out. But with Alex Grinch, the body of work the last 2 years with 4 and 5-star recruits, and then you watch their scheme, Matty, and I watch them closely, and I always go back and watch them extra. People are it's not sound football. And I'm like, well, with these players, they're not in position. And it's not just Alex Grinch. I watch them let guys run in space and mix tackles till the cows come home. And it's the same with LSU. So I don't usually subscribe with the head coach of firing him during the season, because normally NFL, college, the interim coach gets fired. They just do. So you're going to have 3 coaches in a month and a half. That's usually the way it works when you do it. But as a coordinator, because you have assistants and an assistant DC or the linebacker coach, there comes a point in time when the kids that come to work every day that don't buy into what they're teaching or just haven't bought in, they'll check out. Yeah. They're 18 and 19, 20. They will check out. And you saw even in the NFL, they checked out on Josh McDaniels. They just did. And even though it's 1 week, the energy, at least they checked back in on Antonio Pierce. So I don't like it, but Matt, there comes a point in time. If you're already saying, in my mind, like with Lincoln and with Brian Kelly, if you're evaluating at the end of the year, the chances are you're going to make that move anyway. So when it comes to a position coach or a coordinator, if you're going to continue to do this, why not give somebody else in the building an opportunity to see if they can at least create more energy and scheme matches better and maybe just fits better. Buy-in, to me, is the most important thing your players must have for a coaching staff. I don't like seeing people get fired, but it is the business. Alex Grinch had to go, and I will not be shocked. And maybe Brian will stick with him because that's his philosophy. But for recruiting purposes and doing it, if you're going to recruit defensive players and they're saying that's still the defensive coordinator, what are you waiting on? I think that there's certain situations when you have to make a move, and I'd be more apt to do it for assistants than I would head coaches, because I got a bunch of assistants. I only got one head coach, and I don't like it. Normally, like I said, interim coaches don't stick around after you fire the head coach.
He is Sean Salisbury. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Of course, host of the Sean Salisbury Show, Sports Talk 790 there in Houston, and the president of Pro Sports Fans app. Download the Pro Sports Fans app in your app store today. Let me knock out a break, Sean. We'll come back, and we'll talk some Saints. What a unique challenge, that maybe not truly unique, but a rare challenge with what the Saints are going to see in Joshua Dobbs this weekend. We'll get to that with Sean next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. Glow Resources is complete employer solutions. At Glow Resources, they are not a temporary staffing agency. They are a firm dedicated to helping you, the business owner, the employer, seeking employees to find the right employee for exactly what you're needing. Not only will they specialize in blue-collar labor like welders and crane operators and carpenters, but also on the administrative side, from civil construction and maritime and service companies and appliances. They'll source people from all over the world. If you are a business owner and you're stuck in the rat race of trying to hire the right people and you keep missing and it's costing you money and efficiency, trust Glow Resource. There's a reason that Glow is a permanent solution for so many businesses. They don't lose customers because they get it right. You're selecting from a pre-qualified batch of employees. It's Glow Resources, complete employer solutions, glowresources.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street. The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
If you haven't done so yet, be sure to get to Sunshine social media. Check out the NIL video this week with Emory Jones. If DeColdis Crawford, the video he did for the AC Company up in Lincoln, is the greatest NIL video ever, this might be the second greatest ever. So get by on X, on Instagram. You'll see it. Shot and edited by our guy Taylor O'Brien, Taylor Technique. So it's awesome. And I'm not just saying that because Emory Jones went to Calicut. Check it out. It's phenomenal. We visit with Sean Salisbury every Tuesday here on AFR. Talk some LSU, Alabama in the last segment. Sean, let's flip it here and talk about the Saints. First of all, I would love your impressions of what, as a guy not only played quarterback in the NFL, played for the Vikings, as the photo right behind you there. The challenge for Joshua Dobbs being traded and in 5 days literally going through cadences with his offensive lineman on the sideline. Can you put some context around just how improbable it is what Joshua Dobbs was able to do on Sunday leading that comeback against Atlanta? Oh, wait, Sean, we don't hear you. We don't hear you. There we go.
Is on me. There you go. I always mute it during your commercials so the dogs don't bark, my big bully. So sometimes I'm so into it I forget to unmute. So that's on me. It's not only improbable, at times it almost feels impossible. And as good as like here in this city in Houston, how everybody feels about CJ Stroud's game and the way he's playing, Matty.
Yeah.
I almost think that the biggest or the most wow factor performance of the weekend was Josh Dobbs on the way he played, and not only traded, and with those 5 days, darn well that you didn't get a lot of work. They're trying to get Jaron Hall ready, and then he gets hurt. I mean, every single thing you get traded and you're the starter for Arizona, and then you go there and it's like, well, okay, I'm going to have at least 2 weeks to get ready. Hall's trying to, cut his teeth and prove he can play, and then the concussion is like, dude, got to rely on you. That's why we brought you here. It's sooner than you thought, right?
Incredible.
To prepare like that, I saw my guy Jim Everett, obviously you guys know Jim and had a great career, said it is so hard to do that, and it is, because you're not only – once the ball's in your hand and you're physically going to make play, it becomes football. But trying to not only you're still stuck on the last verbiage, and now you're on new verbiage, and then you got new players, and you're short at wide receiver because Jefferson's not there. And then you're coming in and you're like trying to just say, okay, I got to get the center snap. I got to do it. I'm paying attention on the sidelines, talking to people. I've had a couple days. They had to give Hall a lot of work to get him ready because now the Vikings are 5-4 and they're in the damn hunt even without Kirk Cousins. So then all of a sudden you get in there. Not only you're getting, I got to remember from the coach, the verbiage, get it to the line of scrimmage. And then I got to execute the damn play and understand coverage and what we're doing. I can't begin to tell you how not only difficult it is, but to the point of it's almost unfathomable. You could go and not only execute, but execute it really well. And I couldn't have been happier for him when he walked in that locker room and Kevin O'Connell, the guys were waiting on him and showering him with that praise. But you know what, Matty? I looked a little deeper into this. You think about Josh Dobbs' career now as a backup and been in the league a few years. In Cleveland, they trusted him, kept him around. He like not for the long term, but they said, we got to have him on the roster in case. Then all of a sudden he goes to Tennessee. Malik Willis is there. He bypasses him, jumps him on a short period, and they start him last year. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to Arizona, and you're supposed to possibly start Clayton Tune. Kyler Murray's waiting. Joshua Dobbs comes in, plays pretty damn good football, and then you get rid of him because Minnesota needs somebody. And then the dude comes in and literally carries you on the back to get you a victory when you're down a receiver. The offensive line's done a hell of a job this year. You know what you're faced with your defense. And then you're trying not to prove too much because I know the feeling of coming off the bench, even when you're on a roster, you know what you want to do? You want to prove to your teammates they can trust you. So you're talking about swimming and trying to paddle around and get things done. Now, what Viking fans have to understand, give me the same energy when he struggles because it'll happen in the next couple of weeks. He's going to run into somebody where it's not going to be the same result every week. But I thought it was actually the wow factor performance of the weekend, considering where he's been. Matty, think about it. You go from one math class, you go from geometry to trigonometry, literally in a couple days, and you're supposed to know all the formulas immediately and then execute it and pass the test. Yeah. Come on now. That's hard to do, which tells me the guy he's got great football IQ because you can't go from one to another and then go execute it. What a proud moment for him, and I couldn't have been happier for him. And that may end up saving the Vikings season at 5-4 with still a fighting chance now to be in competition in this division.
Now, the Saints are going up to Minnesota this week. And I would say, look, it's a different challenge with the Saints defense, but Sean, the Saints and the Falcons are allowing an identical 304 yards of offense per game. And the Saints are just 2 points better per game than Atlanta's defense. So they're actually, in reputation, maybe the Saints are better. But from what we've seen on the field, very comparable. But as you mentioned, we know Justin Jefferson is not going to play this week for Minnesota. The injury to Cam Akers, Hawkinson's battling an injury. How good can this Minnesota offense be realistically this week with New Orleans coming in?
On paper, Matty, it should mean Madison's going to rush it. They're going to try to run the ball and give Josh Dobbs what did he throw it? I think he threw it 30 times and completed 20 of them. Not for a lot of yards, but in this situation, Matty, all you're trying to do is make the simple play, right? Last week, just let me at least keep my team in it and let guys do work. The Saints defense should be better when we look at it than the Vikings offense. You're on your, a quarterback that's given you your third guy this year. You are without your star receiver. Dalvin Cook's no longer on the roster, so you're using 3 and 4 runners to try and get that production. The positive is he's going to be able to set his feet because most of the time, now maybe not against the Saints, but the offensive line has done a hell of a job, like I said. Going into this game, if you wouldn't have the spectacular performance from Dobbs, you'd think to yourself, Matty, very, very favorable matchup for the New Orleans Saints defensively. But now you got to say, okay, what are they going to do to expand the offense now? They were very efficient, and Dobbs made some plays with his feet too. Hell, I think he rushed for like 70 yards. So he's got that ability, and he did it in clutch moments. What I think you're going to see Kevin O'Connell do is similar to be efficient in the pass game, get Dobbs not just on broken plays, but initiate the run game with him to keep him honest, and then take more shots. I think you'll see them take more shots because another week of practice. Last week was get completions, run after the catch, be smart, and let's go into Atlanta and take care of our business. And I can guarantee you, and now maybe he'll refute it, but when Dobbs had to go in, you're thinking, okay, I got a guy, but it's so soon. What can I expect? Well, 30 throws later, you win a football game, and 70 yards from him rushing later. So I think you should expect an expansion of what they've done. You're not going to get the expansion when Cousins is there. So the passing game's not going to be like, oh, my gosh. So I think you can actually, Matty, play it smart, give him different looks. If it was me, I'd be giving him multiple looks defensively because while he's still learning the verbiage for his own team, you're hoping some team lines up and plays you base, right, in their base coverages and not giving you a lot of looks because you're already thinking about trying to get your stuff that you're trying to handle. And now you got to deal with them. Advantage Saints, I would expect a little come down to earth. But, Matty, we talked about this last week. I said, maybe I think it was you. It might have been on a different show. But somebody was it was in Minnesota. I told Minnesota, he said, what are you getting from Josh Dobbs? I said, a physical kid who's got a good football IQ. This was knowing Jaron Hall was going to play.
Right.
That eventually what were you going to get from Dobbs? And I said, an efficient starter, but not a star. Well, last week he played like a star, even though the yards didn't say it. So if they get that same performance, they will be pleased. But I can guarantee you, if you give them multiple looks and pressure them, confusion may kick in, but they are going to take more shots because they already know what you guys are thinking is squeeze them. Can Dobbs do this back-to-back? Multiple looks I would expect from Dennis Allen and some pressures, but Dobbs has seen enough of this that he will handle it well, but I don't expect it to come as easy. And maybe it's sometimes that beginner like, damn, sometimes you're like, so it's like when you're sick, your mind's just saying, I just got to get through this game. In this one, you're just like, I just got to get out of the damn huddle. And then he went and executed it. Could have been more proud. Advantage Saints defense because of just the lack of practice time and the number of times that you get to see looks from a defense. And if I was New Orleans, I'd come out with some different stuff this week.
And Sean Salisbury is our guest. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. But you know what's so interesting, though, Sean? There's this perception that the Saints offense is starting to catch its stride a little bit.
Right.
And you're going on the road against Minnesota with all of the shortcomings we just talked about, yet the Saints are a 2.5-point favorite. Like, you would think that it should be more heavily leaned toward New Orleans. So is it – are you sold on the Saints offense having turned the corner at this point?
I'm sold on them when I get the efficiency I got from Derek Carr, and you had one penalty overall as a team for 5 yards. I think, am I correct? Yeah. One penalty for 5 yards. And I'm pretty, guys, I thought I saw that. I'm watching the ball. They didn't throw many flags. They kept the quarterbacks clean. And when you don't hit him, Matty, we had this conversation. You don't hit him, he's going to destroy you. And he's accurate with the football. And they mix in the run and get a number of efficient runs and succeed on third down. So, yeah, I do think they're coming into their own, but just when we say that, we're like, oh, gosh, dang, what happened here? The Vikings defense does not pose a ton of issues. And I mean, that's still a weakness of their team. The whole key to this game for me is the different looks for Dobbs, but for the New Orleans Saints offensively, to just make sure Carr gets good looks. Mick, he gets good looks because he's an accurate thrower. So, yeah, they are. But you look at the point spread and you say, Vegas, they know something. But I think a lot of it has to do with there's an energy in Minnesota. And for the first time in a long time, Maddie, that I can remember, Cousins out, Jefferson out, but that the Minnesota Vikings aren't relying on 2 or 3 dudes to carry them. They're actually playing more efficient football, knowing they don't have, we got to lean on Cousins. And he's been great all year. We got to lean on Jefferson. We got to lean on one guy. When Dalvin Cook was there, they're actually getting a lot of guys involved, and sometimes teams elevate when their stars aren't there. And the Vikings have done just that. And so it's a pretty impressive, but I don't see how the Vikings, if the line straight. Now, one thing you're going to face, Matty, is pressures. And let me take you back to our conversation last week or 2 weeks ago, that if you hit him, Brian Flores is going to, I promise you, is going to say, we go hit Carr early, we may get a change up. We may steal a few interceptions or balls on the ground. So they're going to have to deal with pressure because Flores has no problem coming and getting you. Plus, when you blitz, sometimes you want to cover up some of your woes. He knows that if Carr sets his feet, New Orleans offense will continue to be good, but they are coming in their own. Do I trust them? Yes. Do I think that they're where they need to be that's going to get them when they get into January to sustain it? There's still a minute to get there. Last week's performance, protection, efficiency, that's a New Orleans Saints team that'll win the division.
It's incredible, man. Almost in spite of themselves. They
absolutely.
They keep catching breaks, Sean. I mean, you're not going to face Kirk Cousins. Instead, you're going to face Joshua Dobbs.
Hey, guess what, Matty? But here's the ones that they can't think like you and I are, right?
Yeah.
Think, we get Dobbs, not Cousins. Now you got to almost think like, man, Dobbs came in and did a good job, and throw that respect on him. You can't let your mind settle into being casual. Relaxed is one thing, casual is another. But yeah, and you know what? There's those seasons when you can't catch a break. Take these breaks whenever you get a brother, and hope that 3 other teams you play this year has got a second or third string quarterback coming to the party. That's for sure.
It's been that kind of year for New Orleans. I mean, quite literally the best quarterback they're going to face all year is Jared Goff. I mean, it's
right. And C.J. Stroud, honestly, the way it's gone, right? Am I right?
But when they played him, Sean, you're thinking, all right, you're catching a rookie in week 3, week 2, 3, whatever it was.
Right.
I mean, you're thinking, hey, you catch a rookie early in his career, and I mean, look at what geez, him. 470 yards.
With the number of quarterbacks we got in this league that are pretty damn good, you're right. You drew the proper straw. You didn't get the short straw when it came to drawing really top-notch quarterbacks. But you know what? Every now and again, guys catch fire, and Dobbs is capable of it. So I wouldn't take him for granted this week if I was the Saints.
Follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. He is the one and only Sean Salisbury, good enough to join us every week. Sean, we always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You guys are awesome. Matty, appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
All right, bud. We'll do it again next week. That is Sean Salisbury. This is After Further Review. Remember, you want to bet NFL, you can do it over the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, the NBA is tipping off, and DraftKings has a great offer for new customers with the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word, Baton Rouge, smashed together. Make a $5 NBA bet. Any NBA bet. Make a $5 NBA bet, and the DraftKings Sports will give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. As a matter of fact, I was checking out the DraftKings Sportsbook app earlier. I'm going to open it right now. But I saw earlier, you got MACtion tonight. They do have a boost for MACtion tonight if you want to bet on college football. They've also got an NBA. There's a 100% profit boost on an NBA game tonight on any NBA bet if you want to go check it out. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Read the terms. It's more fun when you got a little skin in the game at the DraftKings Sportsbook. To download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge. DraftKings, the crown is yours. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. Okay, it's After Further Review. Speaking of which, we'll get the Otter here in about 15 minutes from right now. See if he's got plays for us on MACtion tonight. Any NBA plays as well. Pels lost last night, unfortunately. After a hot start, they've lost now a couple in a row. But we'll see what the Otter's got for us. Again, a little more than 10 minutes from right now. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back. I do want to update Jaden Daniels' Heisman odds because there has been a change there, which is interesting. And if you want to jump aboard, you can always text the show on the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. A lot of texts coming in during the show, so I'll get some of your feedback as well. We'll do that as we continue on AFR, powered by Sunshine.
AFR.
Hey, remember our friends over at Clegg's Nursery as we move through fall, Halloween in the rearview mirror, looking ahead to Thanksgiving. You want to decorate for fall? Man, our friends over at Clegg's Nursery can surely help. It's a great time. It's the best time if you want to plant trees or shrubs. This is actually the time of year to do it, and nobody's got a better selection than Clegg's Nursery. So many of their plants and their trees and their shrubs, all their flowers are all grown here in Louisiana, and because they are local, they're acclimated to Louisiana, our climate, our temperature, so they're going to thrive here. And this is the time of the year to get plants and trees and shrubs in the ground. So get on by any of the Clegg's Nursery locations. They've got a great selection there on site at all 4 locations. You know where they are: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. I tell you all the time, support a great local company that supported our community for 60 years. It's Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in. The Clegg's Nursery.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Make sure you get to Sunshine's social media every week throughout the football season. Our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, they're putting out a video relative to that week's opponent with an NIL partner. So for the Alabama game, they used Mason Taylor, of course, caught the 2-point conversion against Alabama a year ago in Tiger Stadium. We've seen a lot of really cool ones. Will Campbell against Arkansas holding the little piggies. You got to go see this one. Emory Jones. Emory Jones is messing around with real-life alligators. I mean, it's Florida week, and you have this massive, massive human on a John Deere Gator, and he is loading up a crop of gators onto his John Deere Gator, like holding them up by their heads. And, by the way, it's totally legal, so I ain't trying to hear from PETA. Y'all get out of here. And then at the end, there's a little bit of an Easter egg. For those who appreciate the history of the LSU Florida series, if you watch through to the end, you'll see, you'll know. I mean, you got a big old 300-pound offensive lineman holding up dead gators the week LSU's playing Florida. Brother, you better believe this one's going to pop off. So get on by Sunshine, any of the social media, on Twitter, X, or on Instagram, and check it out. Appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Great sponsors, man. We love our friends over at Sunshine. Was out in a sugarcane field last week for a photo shoot with Jacoby and Guillory and Taylor O'Brien. I was wearing sneakers too. Probably the only person ever on a John Deere shoot, a Sunshine shoot in a sugarcane field wearing sneakers.
In a field.
Sneakers
in a field.
You're damn right, brother.
I gotta get you some boots.
I'm organically me. I'm true to myself, Muse. I am true to myself, Muse. That's what I am. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Brian Kelly spoke with the media on Monday, and then Monday afternoon was on the Feinbaum show. No media availability here on Tuesday, but Brian Kelly will be on the SEC Coaches Teleconference 10 a.m. Wednesday, so that'll be the next update. But here was Brian Kelly giving an update Monday evening on Jaden Daniels.
The concussion protocols will, probably extend themselves, through the next couple of days. He is making progress. The last couple of days have been good days for him. But I think the proof will be, as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, what is he capable of doing? So we won't be able to answer the question really for the next probably 48 hours.
There's one thing that's very relevant there, is he did say the concussion protocol. During his press conference on Monday, he said injury protocol. May seem small, but it is important differentiation there that he did say concussion protocol. Again, I'll reiterate here what I was told a little bit earlier today, which was thankfully it appears mild, and Jaden has shown a lot of progress. And I think it's trending toward him playing on Saturday. There's a long way to go before Saturday and to get him ready and everything like that. And they're not going to rush it, and there are protocols that you have to clear. It's not like he can just decide he's going to play. So here's hoping for everybody involved that Jaden continues progressing and is able to play on Saturday against Florida. The other thing that was a very notable question that Brian Kelly was asked on Monday in his press conference and re-asked by Paul Feinbaum on the Feinbaum show was about the staff and if he would consider staff changes here during the season. And here's what Brian Kelly said on the Feinbaum show.
Right now, we're embroiled in developing our players every single day and preparing them for Saturdays, because this is about this journey that we're on right now for the next 3 weeks. Then we'll take the time, kind of take a step back and say, okay, where did we make progress in the middle of the season? And then where did we regress or not make the kind of progress? And then we'll have to address those things in the offseason.
He evaded the question elusively, but he did say we'll address it in the offseason. So if you're hoping, anticipating, expecting news about a coaching change on the defensive side of the ball in season, clearly that's not going to happen, but they'll evaluate it after the season. I know a lot of people have asked me about Dave Aranda. Look, Baylor is struggling. But 2 years ago, they won the conference in the Sugar Bowl. But it has been a regression over the last 2 years. But after they won the Sugar Bowl, they extended Dave Aranda through 2029. So he's got 6 more seasons on his contract. Does Baylor move on? Maybe. And if he does, if Baylor does move on from Dave Aranda, does he seek another head coaching job somewhere else, or does he want to be a coordinator? One thing to keep in mind, obviously, Southern Cal just fired Alex Grinch. Aranda is from California. Opportunity to get back to near family and home. So that might make sense for Dave Aranda if, in fact, he is let go at Baylor, but we'll see how the season finishes. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Of course, always tell you, get to the website. The holidays are almost here. If you're going to be traveling for Thanksgiving, make sure you get those tires checked before you hit the road. Make sure you get that oil change. Check engine lights on. Bring it into Shaw Bills. You can go to the website to schedule your service. You can always call them or just drive on into Shaw Bills with locations all over South Louisiana, Morgan City up to Baton Rouge, west into West Baton Rouge, and Lafayette, Youngsville, all over. So if you need tires, get the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. You need auto service, they're going to treat you like family. It's Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, we get to Otter Locks here, and I am happy to report that the Matchular, our promo with Muse, where we're going to send Muse on a date with a wonderful young lady to go watch Aqua of Barbie, the Barbie Girl song. Play it, please. Come on, Muse. Play it. Aqua, that song is, 20 years old.
97.
90, so more than 20
more
years
than 20
old.
years
25 years old.
Well,
And Aqua had a sort of a rebirth of sorts as a result of the Barbie movie this past summer, and they're coming to the Fillmore in New Orleans, and we pulled it together. Muse and his date will have VIP table seats. Our friends at 7-3 Distilling are taking care of the transportation, so they'll drive in their tricked out Sprinter van. Muse and his date down there. Our friend Burke Harriman is taking care of flowers from the original Harriman's florist. I understand Haspel. Is this confirmed? Is Haspel getting you your digs?
Terrier made it sound like it was confirmed. I need to text Terrier.
All right, we'll see if we can get that done, and then we'll take care of dinner as well for you and your date in New Orleans. Shout out to Brandon Landry. He offered Supper Club, but Supper Club's closed on Sunday. The show's on a Sunday, November the 26th.
6th, correct.
Sunday after Thanksgiving. So if you're a young lady and you'd like to be considered for the date with Muse, go to 1045ESPN.com. You'll see the Matchler right there on the homepage. Just click. There's a few questions that Muso came up with.
There you go, yeah.
You just answer a few questions, upload a photo, and I'll get to pick the winner.
Kind of, yes.
No, I get to pick the winner.
Kind of, yes.
No, there's no kind of.
There's kind of.
I brought this whole thing together.
I created the questions.
I don't care that you created the questions.
I created the whole
promo. Well, I hope I do a good job picking. It's After Further Review. Otter Locks is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's. Rouse's is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You're going to have a great time on the date, Muse. You know I'm not going to hang you out to dry. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Hey, Rouse's is doing a really cool thing. They've obviously just so much of their history is rooted in being community servants and for 100 years. And they've been helping you make groceries for more than 60 years now as well, with more than 60 locations from Lake Charles all the way over to Orange Beach, Alabama. But all throughout the month of November, Rouse's has instituted a program they're calling Tackle Hunger, Fill the Food Bank. And so they're going into their stores in all of their different local markets for these Tackle Hunger events to support local food banks. So I would highly encourage you to go to the website, rouses.com. Follow their social media to see when one of these Tackle Hunger, Fill the Food Bank events is coming near you. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com, rouses.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
All
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. One thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott Father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Good, man. Good. Let's get right to it. We got a little three-way in action tonight and tomorrow night. You know, Matt, the MAC was kind of a wide-open style, crazy fast tempo league for a long time. And, you know, the way they're geographically positioned, they are getting rated from all areas. Everybody from Penn State to UCLA to Oklahoma rating them for them players. And they got a lot of their skill players. My point is, it's not nearly the scoring it used to be. One of those teams is Buffalo. Not maybe Iowa, but they ain't far from it. 127th in Division I in yards per play. Defensively, they're number 16 in yards per play a defense. So Curtis Rourke, the Ohio University quarterback, remember week 0, they played San Diego State. He got hurt. He's recovering from that ACL. His numbers just not as good as they were last year. It's a lot of points at 45. Going to go under in Ohio and Buffalo, the first one.
Buffalo
All
and
right.
Ohio. You under? Okay.
Well, maybe the best offensive team, La Toledo's really good. They play tomorrow night. They're the class of the league. But after them, it's Northern Illinois. Strong offensive team, 7 yards per play in MAC play. They had 500 yards of offense when they lost last week to Central Michigan. And so we're going to take them to hit it going quickly. At home tonight, Northern Illinois minus the points against Ball State. Looking at 8.5 maybe?
8.5 at DraftKings right now, yep.
And the last one is easy. Shark lovers cannot sustain success. Yes. It's time for us to brush our teeth and move on. We're gonna fade rotten teeth today tonight. The shark lover cannot sustain success. We're fading it. We're flipping to the other side. We're taking Western Michigan -3 against Central Michigan tonight.
All right, Otter's got 3 for you. He's got the under in the Buffalo Ohio U game. He's got Northern Illinois laying the 8.5 and Western Michigan fading yellow teeth. Western Michigan laying the 3 at home. Anything else you like tonight in the NBA or anything?
No, I'm not. Just focusing on football, man. That's where the bulk of my research has been.
1 minute
that's really
remaining
big from this time. So,
all right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
Tomorrow, original walk-ons, getting ready for Gator Week. So, speaking of yellow teeth, so Sunburnt Billy coming to town.
They go from yellow teeth to Dan Mullen to Sunburnt Billy. Oh God, they just can't get it right down there, can they?
Did you see how many players were on the field when they were trying to, instead of just spiking the ball when the clock is stopped, by the way? Did you see that?
Yes,
I did. At the end of the Arkansas game?
I did see the end of the Arkansas game.
My God. Oh. Get the sun, Billy! Get the sun!
All right, Otter. Have a good night. We'll see you.
See ya.
All right. That'll do it for us. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate it. Miss anything AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we'll remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Hey, follow Michelli on LinkedIn. They got some great photos up on LinkedIn of the ribbon cutting for their awesome new calibration lab in Harahan. I shouldn't say new because the location's been there forever, but expanded calibration lab there in Harahan. Just awesome people, man. Michelli's been around for 76 years, now in 11 different states with more than 30 offices. If you weigh or measure something in dozens of different industries, Michelli sells services and rents the products that you use to weigh and measure. If you want to take a look at their new calibration lab in Harahan, you can check it out on their LinkedIn page. They've got it up on YouTube as well. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells services and rents the products you use to weigh and measure. So check them out online at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.